discipline.
Oh, wow.
Which is a massive commitment
Yeah.
across, what have we got in the end, 16 disciplines. So it's absolutely mighty. So Andrea Zinian, Zippo, looks like he's on target for a gold medal here, doesn't he?
And that's well deserved. He's driven that car really well all weekend. He has come in here as the favourite. I think Staff for the Czech Republic is a little, perhaps a surprise in second position. That's really great to see for a nation like the Czech Republic. But ultimately, Zippo with the best car and has driven it strongly. He hasn't been cruising around. He has had that car sideways, and he will take the medal for Italy.
So up towards the line he comes, and as he breaks the beam, now it is the checkered flag. Through the flying finish will go Andrea Zinian, and the cumulative stage time is 8 minutes 24.264 seconds. 8 minutes 24.264 seconds is the time, and Andrea Zinian then takes not only the stage, but he will take the gold medal. For silver, it is going to be Wojtek Staff. It's not, again, we're talking about the times, but you can see the order they come across the line, which again dictates the medals order. So Wojtek Staff was 19.6 seconds back, and Antonio Sainz is set for the bronze in the Porsche. Yeah,
and that last lap from the Czech Republic actually was a better lap than he'd done the previous lap. So if he was on lap B, that seems to be the fastest of the 3 laps, and he reduced the gap just a little bit to Zippo on that last tour, probably down to the fact he was on a different configuration rather than he was faster.
So Antonio Sainz will take bronze for Spain, and the medals table is going to be shuffled accordingly. But as Ben was making the point a little while ago, this is the first representation on that medal table now for Italy within the FIA Motorsport Games. As up towards the line comes the Porsche 911 SC, growling its way towards the line. Porsche, of course, in the tarmac rally world, very, very competitive, whether it was in Europe, whether it was in things like the Tour de Corse or the Circuit of Ireland, and also, of course, rally raids in the early days. Porsches were rugged enough to go well in that. So we move next to Rally 4. Just to reiterate, Italy takes gold. Rally 4, then, for this golden stage, has been more of a battle, really, between Roberto Dapra, between the Spanish driver Oscar Palomo Ortiz and Ali Turcan, who took a stage win on SS12 earlier on in the day at Le Grand Couronne. This, I suspect, is going to be a lot more competitive, with all due deference, than the historics that we have just seen.
0.7 of a second between Ortiz Palmero and Roberto Dapra yesterday evening on the track, with Ali Turcan 4th fastest. He was the slowest of the 3, and actually Tom Renderson was a little bit faster than him. So Ortiz, Palmero and Roberto Dapra have been swapping fastest stage times throughout the weekend. Absolutely mega. And I imagine this is going to be a bit of a battle. I wonder whether we might see some touching between the 2 Peugeots. Getting ready.
Absolutely right. So the clock ticks down. Start time is due to be 20:30. The officials standing in front of the cars to make sure that nobody gets a bit toey and blasts away when they shouldn't do. So for this, you have got, for Italy, the classification leader after SS13, Roberto Dapra. For Spain, there is Oscar Palomo Ortiz. And then for Turkey, there will be Ali Turcan lining up on the 3rd lane.
Yes, and they are able to choose their lanes. So we are seeing Team Italy here in the middle. So they will do the fastest lap first, because they will do lap B first. Whereas we have Spain in the position that we saw Zippo in on the far inside, which was a slower first part, if you remember. Zippo came out of the first couple of sections behind the other 2.
So you do lap B on lap 1.
For the middle lane.
The middle. Away they blast then. So we are in business for the medal stage, the golden stage for Rally 4. Straight away, Spain, then Oscar Palomo Ortiz. He will have to stand on the brakes, go sharp right, then a hairpin left almost, to then go right again. Whereas from the middle, you've got that really nice, fast, flowing start to the stage to really get you into a rhythm nice and early. And that, for Roberto Dapra, could well be crucial. Italy then turning through the first proper hairpin and then on towards the Mistral. Turkey 2nd, it's going to be Spain 3rd on track at the moment. No, it's not. It is, I'll tell you a lie, Turkey still second, Spain third, but have a look at this, wheels lifting. Oscar Palomo Ortiz fighting now to catch up to the Turkish car.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get held out by Ali Turkan whatsoever. This is now going into the rallycross styly, but of course in rallycross you have a choice of when you take the Joker lap. Here he is fixed onto a different lap, and he's going to be looking forward to the end of the Mistral, because then the laps then split again, and that's the opportunity that Dijkra has to not get lost, or sorry, not Dijkra, Palermo, get too much held up by that Turkish driver.
Yeah, so Oscar Palomo then trying to find a way as quickly as he can to wriggle past Ali Turkan, whilst if you talk about this in terms of a race almost, Roberto Dapra getting away now from the rest of them as he threads his way through the Mistral chicanes, of which in this corkscrew effect it goes round and hairpins again. Now the power kicks in, so Dapra, who has shared the bulk of the stage wins with Oscar Palomo, with Ali Turkan getting one of them himself, he now comes along the Mistral straight.
So, yeah, still through that section of turns, still we have Spain behind Turkey. How much has he lost behind Turkey? Ali Turkan was 4.1 seconds back at the end of our 4.7 kilometre stage last night. This is obviously triple that distance. He doesn't want to be following anybody. He wants to be having a clean run of things, but he's right up on the tail there.
Interesting as well, the way that the cars have sort of yeed and yawed over the course of the event. Yesterday, Oscar Palomo had 3 stage wins. He hasn't had a single one today, but let's see what he's got in terms of racecraft. As we're making the point, this is something very, very new, to have to fight against a car. Normally, if you catch a car on the stage, it's got a problem and it will get out of your way. But here, you can defend.
Here's the one to think about. Maybe he realised he was going to be in the top 3, and he set the car up for this stage and this stage alone, and sacrificed pace out there in the mountains so that he was good tonight. A car in the mountains would not have been a good car on the track.
It's certainly a thought as they come then out of the virage du Pont up over the line, at the end of which Roberto Dapra's first lap was a 2:37.009. Into the chicane they come, stand on the brakes, then flick the cars through the left, right, left sequence. And Spain is ahead of Turkey as they hit the chicane. So Spain has done it. Through has gone Oscar Palomo. There they are.
Oh, well, I think he hit the barrier. I think he hit a tyre there. Now, I don't know what the kind of penalty would be for that, but certainly he was very hot into the chicane.
Right, there's Turkey for the slow approach then to lap 2. And Oscar Palomo made his way through then as the Spanish car may have picked up some damage. The brakes glowing, great sights these as Roberto Dapra comes to the Mistral, but closing the gap now is a hard-charging Oscar Palomo. These two are real stars of Rally 4. They are very successful within WRC and the European Rally Championship. Palomo, for example, 2 wins. He leads the junior ERC contest. He has been a very, very successful driver in Rally 4 competitions over the last couple of years. Roberto Dapra likewise took part in Rally Monte Carlo. He's another European Rally Championship regular. So you've got 2 Rally 4 specialists here going toe-to-toe. So out of the first part of the Mistral chicane loop comes Roberto Dapra. Goes left, goes right, swings his way now, not towards the racetrack, but sharp right. Goes back the way he's just come. You can see the way behind him that Oscar Palomo is hunting him down, trying to reduce that deficit all the while. So the Peugeot of Roberto Dapra, the Peugeot of Oscar Palomo, very evenly matched as they come back onto the Mistral, but Palomo is certainly not out of the equation just yet. Ali Turkan is falling away, but he, of course, has had to do rather slower initial laps. Another chicane, that's the Mistral chicane contended with, but Palomo now is very much the chaser. He can judge some of his reference points against what Roberto Dapra is doing up the road. So Roberto Dapra comes out of senior, and he will take his route through that cut-through. Behind is Palomo, so it's Italy versus Spain here. Now, of course, different laps, different routes. Spain wriggles through that cut-through.
Yes, now that's the longer one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that then enlarges the gap between Italy and Spain. But actually, Turkey was on the even longer one in the back of the shot.
So Palomo at the end of the first lap, the first third of the stage, if you like, was third in the times because he'd taken the longer route. This time he should be up to second, and we'll see whether or not he can jump ahead on the final lap, which they are about to start. Through they come then now. So down towards the chicane goes Roberto Dapra, throws the car into the right, into the left, into the right, wriggles through the chicane. There's Spain, that's Palomo. This is where he glanced the tyre stack a lap back, but he's okay this time around. And he is now 3.8 seconds behind. So Palomo is certainly taking the fight to Dapra.
Was there a change there at the bottom of the shot? I think there might have been, just with the variance of the lap. So I think we might have Spain back ahead.
Indeed, because Dapra had to serve the slower lap. There is Dapra then, and it's going to be very, very close between them. It is still just Italy ahead, I reckon, as they come now towards the Mistral, but it's going to be really close. Yes, it is Italy, it is Spain, it is Turkey. That is the order. But Palomo is, what, 3 lengths back, if that? He is hustling on. Flash of the lights now.
He's been watching GT3 racing, hasn't he? Not something you'd be doing in rallying very often.
But now, once you get back onto the Mistral straight and things settle down, the co-driver is almost redundant. This is just absolute horsepower. This is bravery. This is racecraft coming into play.
They've got a different variation, remember, at the end of the lap to still contend with. Through the chicanes here, they're going to have to follow Melida. But who has still got the longer of the laps to do when we get to the far end of the track? That could well decide this. And I think Italy still have a longer lap to do than Spain. OK, so Spain now trying to get close to then, if you like, get the undercut on the next Joker lap, in quotes, through the hairpin they come. This is an elongated hairpin, but deep into it goes Dapra. Late braking also from Palomo. Italy versus Spain still. And the gap, I think, is probably up a fraction. And again, because these are evenly matched cars, it is down to bravery through this next chicane. You don't need to make a mistake here. This is where you need a good flash of the lights to try to distract your man ahead. Palomo brakes as late as he possibly can, scrabbles through. Ali Turkan is set for bronze, I fear, in 3rd place, but the gold medal is up for grabs. Absolutely. Now we're coming to the final part of the lap. One Peugeot 208 will go one way, the other will go a different direction. They'll merge before the final turn, and only then will we really know who is faster and slower. They follow the same path with the first part. Maybe they've both done that longer loop.
I think we have seen that, haven't we now? So this is looking a bit more as though it's going to go Italy's way, because as they come down towards the Virage du Pont, they'll be heading up towards the flying finish this time, and Oscar Palomo has given it his all. But in theory, it should really be Dapra anyway. He's had more stage wins. He won the classification on those special stages. He will be a deserving gold medalist.
Fantastic drive from Roberto Dapra. Not huge experience around these roads, really having to learn the Peugeot 308. And he takes the checker flag for Italy. That's 2 gold medals in the space of 15 minutes for Team Italy. The rallying is very much going their way. Absolutely right.
So bravo, complimenti Roberto Dapra. He takes the gold medal. It is silver for Spain, and Oscar Palomo threw everything at that, didn't he? He didn't just drive round. That was a properly committed effort. So it's 2 golds for Italy. It's a bronze and a silver for Spain, and it is a bronze medal now for Turkey and a silver for the Czech Republic, let's not forget.
Remarkable amount of things to think about. It really is. You know, this is so different to what they're used to. Which lane do you take? Are you going to you need to take the faster lane at the start, surely, because you don't want to get held up like we saw Roberto Dapra certainly in one part of the lap really stuck behind the Turkish team. And then the racecraft, as you say, where can we overtake? Is there a possibility of overtaking?
So now the Rally 2 drivers present themselves, and they have to think not just about the stage yet, but about their recce, because they are going to be given time in order to go and have a look at the stage. So it is going to be the top 3 drivers after SS13 that will go into battle, and I want to call him the rally winner, and you sort of know what I mean. But for France, it is Mathieu Arzeno, who has dominated Rally 2, and he is somebody that we'll come to in a moment because he has actual racecraft. Again, Spain is involved in this because Jose Maria Lopez, second on the classification after SS13, and then for Estonia, it will be Georg Linnamäe, who will represent his nation. You've got the Skoda for Mathieu Arzeno, you've got the Hyundai for Jose Maria Lopez, and the Volkswagen Polo for George Linnamäe. So good variety this time in terms of the cars.
That's right, great variety, because there's a lot of Skodas, and Skoda is the car to have when you're in the world of Rally 2 or WRC2 or ERC. This is the category which is used for the European Rally Championship. So I think they are literally discussing with the FIA which lane they want to take. And once they've officially said which lane they're taking, then we are putting them in that lane. Teo Martin Motorsport running the car. University students of the MSI University running the car. A great opportunity, great place to go and study motorsport, various forms, whether it be engineering or administration. And Teo Martin, Team Teo Martin, very ever-present, both in the real and also in the virtual world. MSI have an esports team which is made up mainly of alumni from the university.
So co-drivers make sure that the paperwork is all in order, as we were discussing yesterday. There are penalties if you check in too early or too late.
It's difficult to see, but I wonder whether that's a clean sheet of paper.
And now the notes are to be made.
Well, if they haven't recce'd it, they haven't made notes.
No, very true. I was thinking more about the time controls and all of that, but yes, you're quite right. There will have to be some notes now to be made. They will have a stage map. Those have been issued already to them, but you know, you look at it and you think, I don't understand that, because there are all these wiggly lines that converge and then feed off again. So that's why they're given this chance to have a proper recce. Estonia arrives then. That is Georg Linnemey.
So I wonder whether they will now be literally writing notes as though it was a stage, ignoring this lap A, B, and C thing, and going, right, our first corner is a 3 right for the inside line, whereas the middle guy, his first note will be flat chat. Yeah.
And you treat it, as you say, as whatever the mileage is of this, rather than 3 laps. It is...
That would be a lot less confusing.
13.5 kilometres in terms of the stage kilometerage. So, yes, exactly how I think you're right in suggesting they would do that as one flowing stage. It's only you and I that are calling these laps, really. I mean, these are rally people. They just keep going. They start and they finish.
Yes.
The fact that actually the start and finish are nearly in the same place, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
It doesn't normally happen, does it?
That's true also.
So this will be the final activity on track of the day. It will also determine the final 3 rally medals. France, Spain, Estonia. So Italy steps out of the competition at this point. But we've had, now is this a portent for Spain, a bronze and then a silver. You see where I'm heading?
Pepe Lopez would love a gold medal, and he was the fastest man, wasn't he, last night?
Yeah.
Now, this is not a racing start. Don't get excited. This is the start of their recce. So they are, in theory, driving at road speed, and when doing so, writing notes.
Yes.
So don't expect fireworks. This could be a study in rallying.
Now, there are going to be people watching this who will think, I can't believe this. I can think of one bloke in Lichfield, if he's watching, who will ring me on Monday, give me a hard time for this. But in the days of the RAC rally before pace notes, you just had to do it off your ordnance survey maps. And the co-driver wasn't a fat lot of help, other than saying turn left or turn right or fast left, because there was no chance. It was a blind rally. There was no chance to do pace notes. So a recce would be an absolute luxury, but you really had to be good on the maps to get your man through a forest that you'd never seen before. And if it was in the dark and in the snow, as RAC rallies, as an example, often were, it was a massive achievement.
And that definitely changes the whole characteristic of how you go rallying. These days, onboard cameras, so you are able to watch the stage you've just done. If you, especially like we saw here, we use the same bit of road 5 times. So by the end of the rally, these guys have got that in their head. They've probably watched it another 5 times on their onboard cameras to see where they were going wrong. Did they brake too late at that point? Did they brake too early? Photographic memory in rallying these days is the #1 cheat. Gus Greensmith in WRC has the most amazing memory.
Really?
He can tell you the tiniest detail about a stage. You go, right, stage 7, Rally Spain. 15 kilometres in, what's on the left-hand side? And after a few seconds, so, there's that sheep, isn't there?
I can remember it all.
Amazing.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. But if you think back to, earlier days, I can remember some onboard from Mike Broad's co-driving the late Russell Brooks, and it all goes silent for about 5 seconds, and Mike eventually says, turn left. Great help, thanks, Mike. But that was all he had, that was all the information. Confirmation of how things stood at the end of the historic Golden Stage, this super special. Zippo Andrea Zinian, along with Nicola Arena, takes gold. Wojtek Staff with Vladimir Zelinka sitting alongside the silver for the Czech Republic, behind Italy and Spain, taking bronze, Antonio Sainz and David de la Puente. For Rally 4, that is confirmed with the medals going the way of Italy, then Spain, then Turkey.
There's only one question mark, and I really hope that there is no further action, but we did see Spain clip that barrier.
Yeah. Well, let's just do the medals quickly before we come back to that. Rally 4 on this golden stage. Italy takes gold, Roberto Depra and Luca Guglielmetti from Oscar Palomo and Rodrigo San Juan. And then it is bronze for Turkey, Ali Turkan with Ahmet Burak Erdene in third. So it is Italy, Spain, Turkey, gold for Italy, silver for Spain, bronze for Turkey. I'd be surprised if there were to be a penalty for Spain, because if you're on a special stage and you clip a tree or a rock, or heaven forfend a spectator, you know, you pick up damage, but you battle on, and it's only the same here. If you hit trackside furniture, well, it's your problem.
However, let's take WRC as an example. When they went to Monza rally, which is very similar to what we're doing here, putting lots of tyre barriers and cones around the Monza racetrack, when they were clipped, there was a 5-second penalty if you took out those, because it's part of the supplementary regulations for that particular event. I have dug into the supplementary regulations here, and other than disrespect of the route, there's nothing to suggest that clipping a cone will do anything for you other than damage the car.
But you can understand why that thought was put in, because hitting a cone and knocking it aside certainly ain't going to do as much damage as hitting a tree and trying to knock it aside. So people could take liberties like they do with track limits.
And like in rallying, the same example of track limits is cutting. Now, somehow in this rally, there is not a lot of cutting, and it's very, very dry. So they're not dragging huge amounts of dirt onto the track, but cutting is track limits, basically, in the world of rallying. You take your car off the tarmac, onto the gravel, the grass, the inside of a turn. Number one, to straighten that turn and to go faster. Number two, and sometimes this is done more beneficially, dragging dirt onto the track for the people who are coming behind.
Ah, yes.
And Ogier really has pushed that over the last couple of years. Doesn't cut because it's going to gain him half a second. He cuts because it will slow up everybody else.
Yeah, that's where he gains the half a second.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's an interesting approach, isn't it? And again, it shows the thinking driver. You know, in the same way that we used to talk about Formula One, people like Michael Schumacher coming absolutely storming into the pit lane during practice just to see where he had to brake late and how far he could push it.
Yeah.
It's that computer-like brain that professional race rally drivers do have. That's not road speed. You can flick the back out like that, I suspect, from Pepe Lopez. But anyway, the opportunity to recce the stage is also going in tandem with getting warmth into tyres, look.
Yes, which we saw Rally 4 doing, didn't we? And then, of course, they had to wait for the historics to do their thing. I wonder whether this is why the Rally 2 category of car are wrecking now, so that the heat that they're generated by running stays in that car, and they don't have stone-cold tyres and stone-cold car straight off the line.
Certainly thought.
Because they're parked up just round the corner here. So to get onto the start line, they don't really have the warm-up time that they would usually have driving to a stage.
Well, we are about to discover who the medalists are going to be. Now, Matteo Arzeno has been the dominant driver. He was beaten only once on the special stages. And guess who that was by? And guess where it was? It was by Jose Maria Lopez Planeas, and it was here last night. But Matteo Arzeno, former single-seater racer, that stands him perhaps in better stead than the others.
And the gaps today were so much smaller than yesterday. Yes, the stages were the same, so the drivers that didn't have the experience on Friday had gained experience on Saturday. But again, like we spoke with Rally 4, have they compromised that car in the whole of today, which would have been horrible for him, so that it works in this stage? One of those stages of the loop today was the mountain pass, the big col. So very nadgery, very slow, lots of hairpins and stuff like that. The second one was much more akin to this track, wide and fast. So actually it wouldn't have been as bad as had they had to run the first stage of the loop yesterday, which was the one that was broken tarmac and horrific in my RS.
Oh, okay.
And therefore would have been horrific in a rally car. So the way the thing bounced, the tarmac was so rough and ready and bouncing around, you wouldn't want a stiff car.
Just want to come back to one point in a moment, just about the stages you were discussing. But we are going to have a look at a change to Rally 4, and what you were talking about in terms of a penalty has been applied to Oscar Palomo. So a change for silver and for bronze. Turkey takes the bronze, and Turkey goes up from bronze to silver, and demoted to bronze therefore is Spain, which is a real shame given how energetically Oscar Palomo pushed. But I take your point that you were making, that yes, you can take more liberties with cones and tyre barriers than you can with trees or bushes. Yes.
And that was all down to that overtaking manoeuvre on lap 1, because he was held up by Ali Turkan because they're on different laps. He pushed really hard onto the start finishing straight and basically outbraked himself into that artificial chicane leading on to the second lap, clipped it. We kind of saw it being clipped. I don't know, it was kind of in shot, out of shot. The tyre, I think, came in shot. It's just there, that tyre there that's now been put back. Unfortunately, that was deemed not following the circuit.
Can I just take you back to the description you were offering of the stages from earlier on? Because as a keen student of linguistic matters, is there a French translation for nagerie?
Not that I know of. I bet there is.
Can we work on this?
I bet there is. I need to go to...
It's a good rally word, nagerie.
I need to go and put my bubble hop on and hang out with the rally guys a bit more, don't I?
Well, yes, you let me down yesterday without a French version of a Scotch egg as a proper rally fan. De Scotch. De Cos.
De Cos.
And is there a bobble chapeau that you can have as well?
I'm sure. Oh, we love it, though. A bobble hat's very useful in the mountains.
Okay.
For skiing.
Ah, right. Okay. I bow to your knowledge of this too. Right, so the Rally 2 cars are making their way back round towards the start of their final stage, at the end of which, of course, there will be the medal podiums. So that's why those penalties are being quickly reviewed and applied. So the podiums are going to be done tonight rather than tomorrow day, straight after the activity, and hopefully we can have a word with the drivers as well. So something very, very different for them, but it's a very different sort of event. And this is one of the things you have to kind of embrace at Motorsport Games, which is that, yes, it's a familiar concept, but tweaked because it's a very different event. You know, the GT...
Here we have cross car, which is very similar, buggies, but on a kind of together racing, and we'll see those at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be able to show you the coverage of that. And so that's half a nod to Rallycross. Rallycross, the difference between Rallycross and Autocross, Rallycross has to have 2 surfaces, Autocross has to have 1. Cross car is the car that races on Autocross tracks.
And Rallycross tracks?
Yes, because the Cross Car Academy can go on dual surface,
but the Cross Car Seniors, as a student of this now, was at the Rally X thing in Latvia I was talking about back in the summer.
Yes.
So many of those drivers were in that. There's Cross Car Junior and Cross Car Senior there. So that is, again, something that is dual purpose. Autocross and Rallycross tracks can be provided.
I mean, there's not a lot difference between the two. And when there was a touring car category in autocross, it was the same basically as the rallycross category. Now the touring car category is gone from, and so the focus really is now on that these buggies that are powered by either motorbike engines or something even faster, and that's that world. But yes, we've got cross car, we don't have rallycross, so having 3 rally cars alongside each other is a nod to that, I think.
I mean, you look at actually what we have this year at the FIA Motorsport Games, there's not much missing.
Nope.
You know, you could say, what about a historic race class? But I wonder whether, depending on what historic class you had, owners would want to change the livery for national colours. You know, you can't imagine historic Formula 1 cars going out of period livery for the country's colours for one event. Truck racing, maybe, but that gives you other dramas in what to do with the circuit and what's licensed to have truck racing. You could do it here, maybe, but certain venues you couldn't. What else is there?
Hill climb?
That's a thought.
I was thinking about that because these guys basically did hill climbs all day today. They were going up a hill. Not dissimilar to a rally stage, really.
No, that's true.
But with very different vehicles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking on my long drive back today from the cross car venue. It's amazing how many things you can do with an engine and 4 wheels.
Yeah. I mean, the other one, which surely there is provision for somewhere around the complex here, is a sprint. Can we stretch it to drag racing?
Ooh.
Hockenheim can do that.
I mean, the Mistral Straight's quite long.
Yeah, exactly.
That works.
But again, you're giving up quite a lot of time to use the Mistral Straight for drag racing. You kind of need to get that done in a day, and then the circuit for the racing element. But anyway, we are speculating because there's no suggestion necessarily that this has to be in the same place every year. So who knows where the FIA Motorsport Games might relocate to in the future if it isn't to be at Paul Ricard. But right now, we have our medal table to be updated after the next few minutes.
And it's because it's a rally, co-drivers need to hand over their time cards to be filled in with the time in which the stage starts. So that's what's going on with those marshals handing something through a window. This is still under rally regulations. This must have been a headache for Nicholas Klinger, who kind of came up with the whole premise to merge the two. Mathieu is going to be going in the middle, so he's got a really fast first lap.
He has.
And Pepe is going to be the third person onto the Mistral Straight on the right-hand side for Spain.
And Georg Linnamäe hasn't had a stage win, but he's been there or thereabouts, evinced by the fact that he's third in the classification. So we are just about good to go, I think. The stage was due to start at 20:50. We're already 5 minutes behind that, but we can't be too far away now. Doors close. Drivers get themselves in the zone.
It's not just a close.
It's a slam.
It must be a slam.
Yeah.
Always must be a slam.
Make sure it's not going to pop open at the first corner, which we did see.
Yes.
From Antonio Sainz. Right, so the clock ticks on down. Everybody looking for the time, and cars lined up ready to do battle.
I mean, great nationalities to be represented in Rally 2, right? Estonia with Oyt Tanak in the World Rally Championship as a champion. We've got Danny Sordo for Spain in the World Championships, and of course, France have won every single one, bar the one that Estonia won for 15-odd years. So we have countries represented correctly here for our final.
Exactly. It's a far cry from Finland and Sweden and Norway as it used to be, for
that,
example. How the world changes, eh? Medals on the line. The Rally 2 Golden Stage about to get underway. Blast off. Great start by Arzeno then as they accelerate down towards the first part of the stage. This is where 3 different lines will be taken.
So Palermo goes off, Lopez goes off to the right-hand side. He's got the slowest of the laps. The second slowest lap is on Georg Linnamäe on the far left-hand side, which leaves the Frenchman Arzeno well ahead, but he will have to do both of those laps in the coming next 10 minutes or so. It does mean that Lopez, I don't think he's going to catch Linnamäe because they are so equal on times. It's not like we've got one a lot slower than the other two. These 3 really, on a circuit like this, are toe-to-toe.
Right, so they turn their way through that little cut-through and make their way then towards the Mistral. But again, because of the number of different configurations you can run around Paul Ricard, there is so much space, there's so much scope for the special stage. So now they come onto the Mistral itself, but there's the first of the chicanes to negotiate, but then you can't join the circuit because it's barriered off, so you've got to sort of loop round yourself and then go back in the opposite direction and then back in the correct direction up through the Mistral chicane. But instead of going back onto the straight, again, cones in the way that shepherd you into a sharp right, and then this elongated left-hand hairpin. So you go deep into it, and it's the second point that's the sharper.
And the other thing you're getting here is you're getting lights from the other cars in your face, which does happen on rally stages like this, where they're very, very sinuous. But Mathieu is absolutely checking out at the front of the field, a track that he would have raced in single-seaters as a young kid. He's done the Rally Saint-Baum before. That'll be coming up in December. He lives around the area as well, so knows the road from his road car as well as his race car, has experience of this, but doesn't have experience at all of the format.
So the lights come towards us, coming out of Senior, but instead of coming down to Le Beausset, they use that next cut through, and Mathieu Arzeno then wriggles his way left, right, then the gradual right that's going to bring him back onto the race circuit. But look in the background, you can see the way that Linnamäe and also Lopez are absolutely charging there for Estonia. Is Georg Linnamäe heading up then towards the completion of the first third, if you like. This is really the first split that we get as they come up to the line, but with the tyres squealing in protest, hard on the brakes, into the virage du pont comes Mathieu Arzeno, looking for gold here.
He is really, really pushing. Of course, these cars are 4-wheel drive, so you could just slam on that throttle and allow all 4 wheels to scrabble for grip as he was doing so. Mathieu's had this car really loose all weekend. I've seen it darting around under brakes and at one point heading for me under brakes. It was really spectacular the way he drives his Volkswagen.
Right, so Arzeno's flying lap was 2:24, just to put it in the context of some of the historic times that we had at the start of the evening, as now Mathieu Arzeno then is 4.5 seconds up on Georg Linnaeus at the end of the first lap, the first proper intermediate, if you like, with Pepe Lopez then a further 2 seconds behind. So now the first task for Lopez is to try and jump Estonia. So Spain chasing Estonia, they're both chasing France. Mathieu Arzeno way clear in the lead right now.
Yes, but this is the slowest lap, I think, for Arzeno now. If he was... Oh, no, because my notes are wrong, so ignore that. At some point, he's got to do a slower lap. At some point, he's going to fall closer into this pack. And I have to say that Pepe Lopez looks like he's really keeping that gap steady between the two of them.
Yeah, but he has to make up 6.5 seconds from the end of the first run over the timing line. As there, Arzeno now goes, again, that fantastic drone shot looking down. Totally clear, isn't it, as the cars come past the floodlit paddock through the many configurations of the Mistral Straight. It's almost like watching a ballet, the way the cars slide and the gaps between them, making it all sort of fit together so uniformly. Down towards the hairpin they come, avoiding those barriers, avoiding the tyre stack on the exit there. Arzeno just does it. There behind him is Pepe Lopez, back onto the power. I fear that Linnaeus for Estonia is falling out of the mix now, but is Arzeno still in charge? It looks as though he's extending his gap a little bit.
Going back on what I was about to say earlier, Pepe Lopez is on the slower of the laps of the three right now. So expect that gap to grow over Mathieu.
So Arzeno is going to be able to pull clear as he comes then now through the cut through on the run down to Le Beausset. There you've got the French entry then. So remember, it is Arzeno in the Skoda, it is Lopez in the Hyundai, it is the Volkswagen for Georg Linnaeus for Estonia. So 3 different cars, 3 different nationalities represented in this golden stage for Rally 2. And they are about to start the final blast around Paul Ricard in the Rally 2 Cup. This is going to determine the medals. There's just under then 5 kilometres left as they come out of the Virage du Pont. Arzeno looking strong.
Now, does Arzeno go to the far right-hand side on this lap? I think this is the lap that he needs to do that particular loop. He's got to get through this chicane first, and then he's going to stay to the right-hand side. And he has to go through the slowest of the loops. There he goes, to the far right. Let's see where Spain comes out. This is almost like one of those little pit stop things, certainly like a joker in rallycross.
Right.
Where is Spain?
6 seconds back is the answer when they came over the line. There is Spain. But, of course, now it's a tighter line into turns 1 and 2, and this is where the margin is going to stretch back again. So it is advantage France. But what about Estonia for second place? Not quite. But France, I think, has got this nailed now. Unless Arzeno makes a mistake, he's managed to stay ahead.
Interesting that the gaps don't ebb and flow quite as much as we saw with the front-wheel drive machines of a Rally 4. Georg Linnaeus, for me, still has an opportunity to get himself up into second position and pick up that second position medal for Estonia with the variance in the last part of the lap. Really close between the two, although it's gone out a little bit there as they head towards the Mistral section.
Yeah, I think France has got this done, but it's been a very, very valiant effort by Pepe Lopez to try and take one of each medal, a bronze and then a silver that became a bronze, sadly, for Spain. He wanted a gold. He ain't going to get that now unless Mathieu Arzeno makes a mistake, but he has driven so well, not just here, but across all the special stages. And Georg Linnaeus, on this last run through, looks as though he is hunting down the car of Pepe Lopez then, the Hyundai, but again, he's just not going to get there in time, is he? As onto the Mistral Straight, Mathieu Arzeno treating that section just like the racetrack that it is, a racing line, not a rally line there.
Yeah, absolutely. The more sliding, the less drive forwards you have, and therefore rally drivers have to switch their brains to a different surface, to a different technique when it comes to tarmac rallying. And he was doing a really, really good job there. Word on the street, we're going to be looking perhaps for a gravel rally, perhaps in next year's edition of Motorsport Games, completely mix things up. And that experience that Mathieu Arzeno has of the local roads to him will certainly be less and less. If you want to watch more around this area, Saint-Barbe Rally is at the end of December, based on very similar roads to the Motorsport Games. And is that a change at the last corner for second position? France have got the victory. but there might have been a change there in the last divergence of the lap.
All right, let's have a look then, because we're looking for Spain, we're looking for Estonia, and the headlights come towards us then, but with the car of Estonia coming out of the Virage Dupont, it is a win for France. It is a gold medal. Another one goes the way of France. Mathieu Arzeno takes honours. It is Spain for second, and it is Estonia for third. So it is gold for France. It's another silver for Spain, and bronze for Estonia. And well done to Mathieu Arzeno, who has absolutely blitzed them in Rally 2 this weekend.
And great to see that finally that performance has come on this circuit, because in qualifying it was Georg Lineme, on stage 7 it was Pepe Lopez, and now Mathieu Arzeno has got himself the win.
So it is the gold medal for France. Then Mathieu Arzeno in the Skoda with Romain Roche takes the gold medal. Jose Maria Lopez and Borja Rozada take silver, and bronze goes to Estonia. Georg Lineme and his British co-driver James Morgan sitting alongside. So great stuff from the Rally 2 entries, and Mathieu Arzeno out of 13 special stages won 12, and he wins the medal stage, the golden stage as it's called, here as well. And then the 3 podium ceremonies will beckon. But it's been a good day for France. They've taken a good haul of medals, and I suspect there are more to come here tomorrow morning. So that's the rally activity done. They were busy yesterday and today. Strange to think that there's a whole host of activity at the circuit tomorrow, but already a number of teams packing up and going home. Their element of the FIA Motorsport Games is done. So there we have the winning Rally 2 cars coming through into the Parc Fermé area, then to the podium. It's a win, though, in the historics for Andrea Zinian, and let's hear from him now.
Our Italian winners, congratulations, Andrea and Nicola. A fantastic result. The first games for you, but you've been driving together for a long time. First of all, Nicola, you've represented your country and you've got the gold.
Well, yeah, it's really a great feeling. It's amazing, because normally in motorsport you don't have this thing of that you race for your country and you can win a medal. So it's something totally new, and I really enjoyed it these days and the whole atmosphere here at the games. And winning the gold is, wow, awesome.
It's certainly something I'll remember forever. Andrea, a little word in Italian.
Beh, guarda, è stato un weekend fantastico, ci aspettavamo una cornice di pubblico molto popolata, ma ce n'è stata veramente tanta, è stato un bellissimo evento e vincere la medaglia d'oro è sempre un onore comunque.
Congratulations to you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Complimenti Italy. So Andrea Zinian and Nicola Arena take the gold medal in historic Rally Cup. Rally 4 Cup, Rally 2 Cups, of course, still we will hear hopefully from our winning drivers. But I think the rally element has been a very popular part. It's been something different, and it's also been good to have the cars on the circuit here as well, to give the fans that have stayed long into the night something different to see. Now, we were talking earlier about the success of Roberto Dapra in Rally 4. Gold medal again to Italy, and Roberto Dapra and Luca Guglielmetti take the gold medal aboard their Peugeot. They're with Gemma Scott.
Luca, Roberto, congratulations. Another win for Italy, taking home all the gold medals so far in the category. Perhaps not all 3, but a fantastic result. Roberto, just a quick word.
Yeah, it was a long rally, difficult in the first loop because we were with a wrong setup. Then we fixed it for the second and also for today. It was very beautiful stages there in France, and we push a lot, 110%. A little bit of risk, but it's part of the game. And in the last stage, that it was the one that do the winners, and it was very stressful, and I don't know where the other drivers were, and we win, and it's unbelievable.
It really is. Luca, a little word on italiano.
È stato fantastico, stati 2 giorni intensi, Complimenti a Palomo che ci ha reso la vita difficilissima, è il campione europeo, è super bravo, è stato bello battagliare con lui tutto l'anno, ha vinto lui il campionato, noi abbiamo vinto oggi, siamo contenti tutti.
Congratulations to both of you and another success for Italy. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Roberto Dapra doing a very, very good job to win in Rally 4, but Matteo Arzeno has just been the man to beat in Rally 2, and I suspect he will be equally delighted, because it's one thing winning a gold medal in this, but to do it on your home event is something different again.
Home event for the country, home event in the region. Mathieu is a local person to here and therefore had that benefit on the first day of knowing where he was going, which matters so much in rallying when, yes, you've done a recce, but you've never really driven it in anger. And he had competitors with lots of experience in the Rally 2 category and others with less experience in those particular cars. Pepe Lopez's co-driver, for instance, with WRC podiums to his name, Borja Rosada, but has actually worked with Pepe Lopez for a good couple of years now. Back to the historics. Look how beautiful the Quattro looks.
And I like the way they've been able to integrate the Italian colours, but also keep the Audi Sport livery as well, which has always been a hallmark of the Quattro, with that sort of tricolore on the top of it, the red, the grey and the black that Audi Motorsport colours have been. So the Quattro arrives at the foot of the podium. There is another Italian hero of the hour, Roberto Dapra, arriving as the Rally 4 victor. And very shortly, the podiums beckon for the Rally Cup winners.
Those are things that get me very excited. Lighting pods.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I know I like rallying, when you like different lighting pods.
Would you like to tell us something about lighting pods in 1 minute without deviation, hesitation or repetition, Ben?
There's so many different variants, isn't there? They just look so cool when you put them on a car, generally. Look at the Audis, it's the triangles on the Audi. That's a Peugeot 208, but it's now got lighting pods and it now looks awesome. And for some reason, they sound crazily good as well.
What, lighting pods?
No, the car
Peugeots.
generally, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Not
right.
Peugeots, but that Peugeot, that 208, the Rally 4 category.
That's Ben Constanduris, everybody. Please give generously. The
Hey,
Rally
look, it's 9:15 in the evening. It's been a long day.
The Rally 2 winners are just going through the technical checks before they're brought down to the podium. And then the medal ceremony can get underway. But good to see that the fans are there. There's a big screen in that fan village. So, Ben, let's have a look at some of the highlights of the rally activity.
A brand new format for our rally competitors, going 3 together into effectively a stage, but part of the stage shared with other cars. In the historic category, that wasn't too much of a problem. Zippo in the Audi, the class of the field, both in the coals, in the forests, and on the track. Carlos Sainz's brother Antonio Sainz in the Porsche, I think had a technical problem because the car just didn't necessarily run like we've seen it for the rest of the weekend. It might have also been at age 65, he was struggling a little bit with where to go. We saw that last night when we visited this particular circuit as one of our stages. And the Czech Republic in the Opel Kadett picking up second position, but Zippo getting the first medal for Italy. The second medal would come soon after, Rally 4. Roberto Dapra struggling on the first day with setup in his Peugeot 208, but found the sweet spot today, took more stage wins out of Ortiz Palmero, and ultimately took the conventional rally section. He did have a scare though, Palmero. Stuck behind Ali Turkan for Turkey on lap 1. This was where it all went wrong. Turns, locked up, hit that tyre, which is out of position, and unfortunately got given a 10-second penalty. So ultimately, Team Spain dropping behind Team Turkey. What a huge result for Ali Turkan and Team Turkey to get a silver medal behind Team Italy with their second medal of the Games. And then it was Rally 2, the fastest cars used in WRC2, in ERC, the European Rally Championship. Dominated this weekend by Matteo Arzeno, but he hadn't taken a stage win on this particular configuration all weekend. Linnamäe for Estonia, my personal favourite for the rally, was fastest in qualifying around this loop, but ultimately could not replicate that when it came to the medal final stage. France leading ahead of Pepe Lopez for Team Spain. And Lopez clearing off and keeping himself ahead of Estonia, but it was ultimately Team France that took another gold medal in Rally 2.
So the Rally 2 winners are there. Mathieu Alzano is ready to celebrate. I think he has joined Gemma Scott, and Mathieu Alzano is with co-driver Romain Roche. Let's hear from them.
Romain, Mathieu, félicitations. C'était un super résultat pour vous et pour la France, bien sûr. Il y a plein de fans ici. Mathieu, juste avant, on va parler ensemble là. Pour le course, est-ce que c'est bien passé, tout le rallye?
Tout le rallye s'est très bien passé. On a été en tête du début jusqu'à la fin. Donc voilà, on est très content d'être ici ce soir.
Just saying there, Mathieu, that very, very happy. It was a great rally. They had no serious problems. The circuit was the hardest part this evening, but very happy with the results. Romain, c'est un honneur d'être là pour représenter la France.
Exactement, c'était l'objectif. En plus que tout se joue sur la dernière spéciale, ça nous a mis un peu de pression. Après avoir fait le job pendant 2 jours, on est content de gagner la médaille d'or et de mettre la France sur la plus haute marche du podium.
Félicitations encore une fois. Romain there just saying that the objective was achieved and the pressure was on this evening in the circuit, but they're delighted to bring the gold medal home for France.
And it's been a great drive by the French crew. They know the roads, as Ben Constanduras has been making the point, but equally to win a gold medal on home soil, perhaps there is that just, okay, there's local knowledge whether it's rallying or racing, but there's also that extra determination, isn't there, to win, like it would be your home Grand Prix, for example.
And the worry that the result of 1 minute advantage after 2 days worth of rallying could all be undone by a single stage here at the circuit. And as Mathieu said, it was the bit that was the hardest part. The pressure was on. There is fans everywhere. It's a different environment. You're not just out in the countryside like the rest of them. But it does mean that France have got a good haul of gold medals from today.
They've done very well on the track, whether it's been in a race car or a rally car. And there's a chance of more medals to come tomorrow. So the drivers then are being made ready for the podium. I can see that the SRO officials are there, and it looks as though it's going to be modern podiums first, if you like, rather than the historics, as drivers hang by the Audi Quattro.
Now, you might remember we mentioned a while ago in conversation the fact that obviously SRO have a great affiliation with GT cars. Yes. RGT, there is a GT version for rallying, which is a championship in the FIA championships, running Alpines and Porsches and Fiat Abarths. Mathieu has himself won the Soundbaum in an Alpine last year. So maybe there's another little variant that we can add to the mix, as we were discussing earlier, a GT class, if we stay on tarmac, in rallying too.
Like the thought, like the thought. Looking down from the drone, you can see the structure there that is both the studio, the green room and the podium, and the drivers very shortly are going to be brought forward in anticipation of our medal ceremony for Rally Cups, the Rally 2, Rally 4 and the historic rally as well, to round out what's been a very long but very busy and really exciting day of motorsport, be it real or virtual, be it race, be it rally, be it karting, be it drifting, that we've had here on the Circuit de Castellet. So we need the top 3 from the 3 classes. Once the drivers are there, if the officials are happy, then a thumbs up can be given and the podiums can rock and roll. Mathieu Alzano and Romain Roche still celebrating.
Yeah, Mathieu's been around for a good while now. It took Thierry Neuville was with me down in Crosscar at the moment. we were chatting with Thierry this morning regarding Mathieu, and they raced against each other in junior WRC, and I've now found that year, 2010, was when the two of them were in junior WRC, and Mathieu then did do some WRC as well.
Right, the podiums, I think, are ready in an indeterminate order, but anyway, there are medals, there are drivers, and it might be that they're going to go after all in the order that they took part. In other words, we start with historics, but basically we'll find out in a moment, because the drivers will be called forward, and then medals will be presented. So the stairs from the cool-down room up onto the roof, there are the medals, and of course there will be two to be presented, because you've got one for the driver, one for the co-driver. You don't have to be of the same nationality to represent the nation. The co-driver can be of a different nation, as we saw Gail Lindmay and James Morgan, for example, but in the main they are of the same country. So the historic contingent making their way forward. And so it is going to be the historics first. By the sound of it, it will be for the bronze. It's going to be the Spanish team of Antonio Sainz and David de la Puente. But ideally, we need them to head upstairs, which is finally happening. So drivers are on their way, representing Spain. Up step then the driver and co-driver for the Spanish nation. Co-driver David de la Puente and Antonio Sainz take the bronze medal. Then for the silver, it will be making their way forward now for the Czech Republic, Wojtek Staff and František Ražinoha. The Opel Cadet drivers gave it their all in that. It was a car that was perhaps a little bit short of grunt, but managed to wring the neck of the Opel Cadet. And up for the gold medal steps Team Italy, Andrea Zinian and Nicola Arena. The circuit already being made good for tomorrow, with the Paul Ricard team moving the barriers so that it's a race circuit, not a rally stage first thing in the morning. But a dominant display all rally by Andrea Zinian and Nicola Arena, and so now the medals being presented at the end of the Rally Cup for the historic cars. Antonio Sainz receives his bronze medal from Anna Nordqvist, the FIA Vice President of Sport for Europe. There is David de la Puente receiving his bronze medal. Then we go to the silvers for Vladimir Zelenka and Wojtek Staff.
And if you like your historic rallying, one of the very, very best events to head to, which is where the Zippo was just a couple of weeks ago, driving a Subaru Impreza 555, of course. Rally legend, an amazing array of cars, and usually brings some of the more contemporary drivers to drive classic machinery. Being in Italy as well, absolutely fantastic place, and that's where we saw Zippo last in rallying.
So the gold medal to Italy, to Nicola Arena and Andrea Zinian. Congratulations to Nicola Arena and Andrea Zenian, the gold medalists in the historic Rally Cup. Antonio Sainz might be the vanquished, but he is the first one to make his way along the podium to congratulate his rivals, and he's the first one off the podium as well. He takes his champagne and he's gone. Wojtek Staff nearly comes a cropper, but the historic rally contingent, I think, has enjoyed the last couple of days, and it's been a good addition and some good variety of car. I know the Audi Quattro perhaps was always the shoe-in for the win, but whether it's been Lada, Opel, Audi, Porsche, Talbot, there's been all sorts of variety. The only thing you can argue that was missing in the historic class was a Mark II Escort.
Yes. Yes, why? There must have been plenty knocking about.
Probably more of a British thing than a mainland Europe these days,
maybe,
perhaps.
yeah.
Perhaps. Well, there is the winning Peugeot from Rally 4.
Here, you can't see it, unfortunately, in the picture, but on the right-hand side of that light, not on that light pod, that's why you can't see it.
Oh, no.
On the Quattro is Carlos Sainz's autograph.
Is that right?
Which is covered up by a piece of tape. Which must be a bit awkward to then share a podium with his brother, but that is on that Audi Quattro on the red bit of the flag, and has disappeared a little bit because, of course, they've had to add the flag onto the bonnet as per the regulations of the rally. So you can only just see it under the red tape.
Well, Rally 4 went the way of Italy as well, and so Roberto Dapra is very shortly going to make his way to the top step of the podium. There is the Italian tricolore adorning the Audi Quattro. It's still got great presence, hasn't it? Well, the best part of 40 years on.
Fantastic looking beast. And all the various different variants, of course. The Group B car, even wider, even more aggressive.
But actually, as other manufacturers came along with Group B machinery, Audi never really matched the same success.
Still didn't change the legacy of the car, though, did it?
No. But when you look at the later days of Group B, you tend to actually realise that the Quattro wasn't the steamroller that it's always been thought of. But it certainly goes into rally folklore for the way that it just changed the sport completely. They found that aspect of the regulations.
I suppose also changed the brand Audi themselves.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, it went from a very staid brand, didn't it, to a proper performance brand. And then to touring car racing and prototype racing. So now we move to Rally 4, where the Spanish drivers take bronze after the penalty applied to Oscar Palomo and Rodrigo San Juan. Then for silver, Turkey will step forward onto the podium, and the Turkish representation is Ali Turkan and Ahmet Burak Edirne. So it was a result that changed because of a penalty applied to Spain, but Ali Turkan and Ahmet Edirne very, very pleased indeed with the improved results. And of course, they got a stage win out of the event today as well. So they've been there or thereabouts, but so too to dominate Rally 4 today and to share stage wins yesterday. For Italy, the gold medal will go the way of Luca Guglielmetti and Roberto Dapra. Roberto Dapra, the man behind the wheel, makes his way into the top step. Great to see his Italian fellow athletes supporting him and Luca Guglielmetti as the medals now are to be handed over, starting again with bronze for Spain. Oscar Palomo's enthusiasm was his undoing. What's also nice here is that, yeah, I know it's in the regulations that you're meant to have overalls reflecting your country, your ASN, but not just that, but the bulk of competitors are coming up with national flags as well. You know, the whole element of the nation bit is being embraced properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is certainly a pride as you speak to people that that is doing something different. Motorsport can be quite a selfish pastime, can't it? And here they're doing it as a community. They're not just doing it for their country, but they're doing it as the representatives of the country here at the Games. They're walking hand in hand and side by side with people from other disciplines. And supporting other disciplines. The rally guys are over, and some of them might stick around and watch, you know, the auto slalom tomorrow. Quite similar. They'll have friends in that. Go to the karting track. That's a lot of kisses. Wow.
That's what happens when you win gold. So Oscar Palomo and Rodrigo San Juan take bronze. Ali Turkan and Ahmet Burak Edina take silver. And Roberto Dapra with Luca Guglielmetti take the gold medal in Rally 4. So once again, the national anthem of Italy plays as another gold medal goes the way of the Italian nation. And of course, although we've got podiums for the individual disciplines, there is that closing ceremony tomorrow evening when the winning nation will be revealed as that medal table continues to grow over the course of the event. And we've had another 9 medals added in. Spain's had a decent haul with 3 across this, 2 golds for Italy, and another gold for France as well, all affecting the medal table.
Palmero and Dapra would have raced a lot of each other this year, both in ERC 4 category in the European Rally Championship. But for Ali Turkan, that's an unusual podium for him. He will not have competed against these guys very often, and I think that's the big surprise of the weekend. Well, not surprise, but a great pleasure to see Turkey up there on a surface which is nothing like what they rally with, in a car that was relatively unfamiliar to him. And Ali Turkan getting himself up, silver medal, and having a really good, strong battle over the coals and in the forests. Waiting now for Team France to receive their gold medal for Rally 2, the R5 category as it was previously known. Hundreds of cars all around the world represented at the biggest level in the world, WRC 2 category, but also used in the top seed of the European Rally Championship and so many national championships around the world. And manufacturers still bringing out new ones. Skoda just last week bringing out an updated version of this very car for next year, an Evo version mainly developed by Chris Meek. An opportunity for customer racing to grow. That same philosophy that SRO have on track with GT3, represented in touring cars with TCR, as we've seen here, and also in rallying. It's very hard to get your hands on a WRC car these days. If you can, you need a lot of pennies, but much more accessible and affordable to go rallying in R5.
Well, the drivers from R5, from Rally 2 now being brought forward, where it is at the end of the event. A bronze medal for the Estonian entry of Georg Linnamäe and for James Morgan. Then, as Estonia and Wales stand side by side, it will be silver for Spain, and Jose Maria Lopez, again with national flag, steps forward, joined by Borja Rosada. And then for the top step of the podium, it's a gold medal once again for France, for Mathieu Azeno and Romain Roche. The gold medal to the Skoda drivers, having absolutely blitzed Rally 2 in the FIA Motorsport Games. Again, the national flag is there, and handshakes all round, and Mathieu Arzeno and Romain Roche stand on the top step of the podium. Gold for France, but first we go in reverse order. So the bronze medal goes there to co-driver James Morgan, to driver Georg Linnamäe for Estonia. Anna Nordqvist once more, the FIA Vice President for Sport Europe, is in charge of presenting the medals there for the Spanish crew, for Borja Rodada, for Jose Maria Lopez, the Hyundai drivers, the silver medals. But Mathieu Arzeno and Romain Roche will get gold, and they have been mighty all through the event, whether it's been in the conventional special stages or here on track.
Borja Rodada on his 283rd rally, sitting alongside Pepe Lopez, training up Pepe Lopez. There's a big age difference between the two of them. And has been alongside him for a good couple of years. That compares to, even though Mathieu Arzeno has been around a long time, he's only done 90-odd rallies. Georg Linnamäe with 60 rallies to his name.
So the national anthem of the winning nation, once more, gold medal to France. Congratulations to France, another gold medal to round out day 2 of the FIA Motorsport Games. And for Mathieu Arzeno and Romain Roche, then the gold medal, the champagne is at their feet. They're all smiles. They have won rally stages. They've won the golden stage tonight to round out the activity at the Circuit Le Castellet, and a fantastic result for France. They've been winners of gold in GT3 circuit racing and in Rally 2 as well. Well, tomorrow the circuit is given over purely to race activity, but of course karting is still in business, so is drifting, so is esports, so the slaloms, both auto slalom and kart slalom. So there's a lot to see, a lot to enjoy still within the FIA Motorsport Games, and we'll bring you all of that action tomorrow. For your company today, thank you very much, and we look forward to more action, more medals tomorrow to determine which nation will win the FIA Motorsport Games. See you tomorrow.
What a great way to end the rally stages here at Circuit Paul Ricard. It's raining champagne here as the podium is just above me, and actually our winners are quickly coming past and coming out of the way. 3 more podiums, which means the medal table is really stacking up now. We saw the drift final earlier, so let's take a look at their podium, which is next. In 3rd place for the drifting, it was Jakub Przeszkolski for Poland. He took the bronze, and Kuwait took silver. Ali Maksheed took that. But it was Latvia Kristaps Blush who took the gold in the drifting. Next up, we have got esports for you, and it's their final.
For the final time today, we're about to go racing in the FIA Motorsport Games at the Fanatec Esport Cup. The cars are lining 2x2 formation through the final turn, headed by James Baldwin at the United Kingdom, with the Czech Republic in second position. You know the routine by now. They're going to follow a mandated speed. They're keeping their eyes on the starting gantry. When those lights go out, these cars get loud, and we go motor racing for the final time. Here we go, the cheer from the crowd. The Fanatec Esports Cup is go, and 20 cars careering down into T1, headed by Baldwin, the Czech Republic around the outside. Coming to the inside is the McLaren as well, and everybody, touch wood, makes it through the first.
Oh, there's contact. It was Kadlacik and Harteveld, I think, made contact. Where's Kadlacik on his way out wide? There was another car off with him as well. I was amazed that Harteveld didn't spin around there. But look, there's Kadlacik coming back in the pack. They're 4 wide as well. There's more and more contact. That's Sotomuto going out wide as well. He comes back into the middle of the road. We've got the McLaren as well. I think that's Mohamed Alif in the Singapore McLaren. A big check up in the middle. Oh, Jonathan Wong's around as well. Somehow, these guys, oh no, that's Sviderek around in front of the field. Amazing miss there by Kuhn, but flipping heck, Paul, this has kicked off massive time.
Yes, I was just about to say, literally, as I said, everyone got through cleanly. You told me someone had gone off, so that was the commentator's curse, but Kuhn did very, very well to not collect the spinning Sviderek from Poland. So Sviderek is still running on the track. The timing screens will update themselves in a moment, but there's a great fight we've got going on here as well. Norway, the back of a 3-car train, trying to find a way past Greece and Singapore. Do not go 3 wide into scene. That is bad news. There we go. Good stuff indeed. So Greece managed to make it through, and Norway just drops behind that train. And for a moment, Chaz, I thought 3 wide, which has just got tears written all over it.
Especially on the first lap as well. Tommy Erskard backed out of that one, and then of course the driver from Singapore just in front, Mohamed Alif, he was very much in the thick of that battle in the early stages, but now he's got to just focus on the back of that McLaren in front of him, which is Haris Mitropoulos, and there is a massive train of cars behind them, because that's where the checkup happened. That's where the incident was. 3rd place and 2nd place making contact. I think, to be honest, Harteveld was down the inside at the first part of the chicane. He was on the outside for the 2nd part, and I think at that point it was Kadlacik had to really slow down, and he lost it, went across the pack, and everybody had to back up.
Which is just the problem, and that's again what we're saying about being in the middle of the pack, isn't it? You can make your own accident, or you can get involved in somebody else's incident. They don't have to be malicious, they don't even have to be aggressive. It can just be lots of cars, little space, everyone desperate to make a move. As we're seeing now, that's Oscar around the outside. In fact, that's Oscar defending, I think, from Singapore. The both cars managed to make their way through. So Tommy Oscar currently in 6th position. Indonesia it is, Singapore it is, just behind. This is what we've seen traditionally up to this point, as Sotomuto tries to find a way through the inside down in 12th place. We found the first 2 or 3 laps are used just to settle into the race, and then that's when you can start making genuine and proper forward momentum.
Yeah, it's all about setting yourself in a position, figuring out who's around you, what your sort of pace difference is in the early stages of the race. I want to mention Ben Spanky as well, the Slovakian driver who was ahead of Sotomuto there. Started 17th in this race, and now he's up to 12th position. So in the first lap, he's gained 5 places. There's Filipa Bokida just looking at what's going on around her, looking at the relative. You can see she's just taking in the information, checking what's going on with the car, the tyres, every bit of information that you get fed here with such amazing detailed realism from Assetto Corsa Competizione. But right now, she has the fastest lap out of everybody on that first lap and is right behind the Spanish driver in 3rd position, I should say, Alberto Garcia Gomez, another driver that's been very exciting throughout this competition. However, ran out of steam a little bit towards the end of that last race, didn't he?
It'd be really interesting to see if Gomez can take those lessons that he got from the last race, understand what the Lamborghini is like at the sharp end of the grid, and apply them in this race, because, again, you can't afford to fade. And we kind of said, and I'm going to contradict what I said a few moments ago, that they take the first few laps just to get the balance. Only the top 3 count in this race. You can't afford to do that one. You've got to go gung-go, because if you're 14th, best will in the world, you're not going to make up 11 places during normal running. No. And the first lap is the best opportunity to mug people and catch them unawares. And that's why we've seen a little bit of aggression from our drivers as we're looking at Schaaf now for Germany in 11th position. The big old AMG Mercedes, a little bit cast adrift at this moment in time of the cars ahead. The Czech Republic is the next man up the road, but that man, Sotomuto there, as we see Brazil. Now what's happened to Rodriguez? Rodriguez, 18th position. I didn't think he'd fallen quite as far as that, but apparently he has.
I think when Kadlacik went off at the start, there was another car in the background with him, a very bright coloured car. I think when Kadlacik's gone one way then the other, he's taken Rodriguez with him. not on purpose, of course, but in catching the car, he's just taken the front off that McLaren, because it does look like there's a bit of damage to the front end of it. It's a bit scuffed up. So Rodriguez, who was the fastest in qualifying out of everybody, won his qualifying race, absolutely flew through the pack, and has shown everybody the ultimate pace this weekend. That 5-second penalty that he got for entering the pit lane has changed his weekend so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Rodriguez has been delivered a bag of disappointment, and now he's basking in its glory down in 18th position. So a lot of work to do, but no time like the present to get a good start going there. So Rodriguez goes 3 wide again into Scene. This is another risky move, but Rodriguez has got to make the move. He's got to make it stick, does he? Yes, he does. That is sensational. Igor Rodriguez keeps the car to the inside, goes back onto the racing line, gets it all gathered up in the second position. A round of applause behind. If I didn't have a microphone on, I'd do the same thing, because that was spectacular.
Yeah, that was brave, and that's exactly what he needs to be right now. He needs to push, take those opportunities. Jonathan Wong did the same as well in the Aston Martin. He gained a place out of that situation, and he also needs to be opportunistic. He was turned around in the first lap in the first couple of corners, and right now everybody is just thinking, no, I'm not settling into a rhythm. I need to push, and that's the thing. We've said it many times. So here we go. So watch Kadlecic in the lightish blue car in the middle, and then down the inside goes Harteveld. So Kadlecic makes up for that, gives him the room. Harteveld, he hits the curb, loses it, and yes, look, takes Rodriguez with him. Fantastic save by both of them. But yeah, he just clipped that curb. He was giving him enough room. I'd say there was enough room for Kadlecic down the inside as well from Harteveld. Fair play. But then, in that moment, just clipping that curb, correcting it, just bounced one car off the other. And to be honest, they were both lucky it wasn't a bigger accident in front of the whole field.
We spoke about that in the last race, didn't we? How unstable the cars become over the curves. They're so low to the floor, they're so heavy. The pressures are still starting to raise in the tyres at this early stage. And that is, unfortunately, like you say, I think there's no real apportioning of blame there. It is just early doors lappery. These things do happen, unfortunately. So Rodriguez now has a lot of work to do. Brazilian entry, remember, car number 21, 16th position. Keep your eyes on that one. Everybody at home to see how he moves forward. Meanwhile, Muhammad Ali for Singapore in 7th position. There he is on our screen twice, in fact. Goes to the outside into Scene once again, the scene of many exciting things. And Muhammad Ali around the outside, raises it out against Norway and gets the deal done very nicely indeed, and covers the inside line, Chaz, to avoid any fight back from Oscar.
That was a lovely looking manoeuvre, that. Absolutely lovely stuff by Muhammad Ali. Did a really good job of that there to get ahead of Tommy Erskard, but Tommy's not going to take that line down. Fills the mirrors once more, but look behind them as well, the number 55 car of Presley Martono, another driver that's always been sort of starting a bit further down the order, but constantly making his way back up. He's right in the thick of this now, in the box seat to watch this develop, and it seems like in the early stages, the Porsche's not quite got the punch that the McLaren's got. The downforce around the right-hander was insane, but at the same time, we know the Porsche's good near the end of the race as well, so they can take it as they want a little bit later. They can push a bit harder.
The thing is for Martono, as you say, he's been very consistent, he's been very strong as he's gone through. The problem is now, you can't afford, that's no use in this race. We need to see another aspect of his skill set. We need to see, as they often say, get your elbows out. And as Chaz points, you are very magazine style then doing the point thing. You know, you're doing the adverts, we pointed. The screen is a drive-through penalty for Malaysia.
Yeah, that was quite an accurate point then.
It was actually. I saw it from distance. I was impressed. I
don't know why, but I've not looked at that screen all weekend. But
I always look at yours as well. How weird's that? Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, anyway, we have obviously seen there is a drive-through penalty for Malaysia, the only Ferrari in this race, very interestingly. I thought we had a few more in the field, to be honest with you, but clearly they've fallen by the wayside bit by bit over the course of the weekend. It's mainly McLarens in the pack. And that's not a bad thing, because the McLaren is a gorgeous car to look at. Here are the top two making their way away from the rest of the field, though. James Baldwin leading ahead of Chris Harteveld. And it must be said, Chris Harteveld started on pole position in his qualifying race, didn't win it because he led it early on, gave up the fight and just said, I'm happy to finish second. I'll keep progressing through the tournament. And here he is now, very close to a win in the final. I know there's 50 minutes left, but at this point, second in the race, a couple of tenths off the race leader. Considering how easy it seems he's taken it anyway over the course of the weekend, that is not bad going at all.
And interestingly, this is a role reversal for James Baldwin in the United Kingdom. If you cast your mind back to the race that he won earlier in the day, he was the man doing the shadowing in second, seemingly not really under much pressure, not really trying so hard to extract speed from the car. So how does Baldwin get on been the defender rather than the attacker. Speaking of defenders and attackers, Indonesia is in the middle of a spicy sandwich here, and there we go, loses the position to the Czech Republic. So Karelčík doing a great job, is Karelčík, to make his way past the number 55 machine. And we've seen a few passes in that final corner, but it's so easy to misjudge it and just go deep, isn't it, as the attacker?
Well, if I'm honest with you, I thought Karelčík did go a little bit deep there, and I thought that he was going to get a cutback pulled over on him, and that was very close into turn one. But just looking down the inside there, Martono just trying to fill the mirror a little bit more, just falsely lead him into a bit of insecurity about the fact that McLaren's going to stick its nose down the inside. Very pointy nose on the front of the McLaren, really low car, gorgeous, sleek machine. But there you see Presley Martono working hard behind the wheel now. You can see the way that the rig and the monitor shakes slightly with all the force feedback here from these Fanatec wheels. Awesome to see it, and the drivers get to feel so much through those wheels. And of course that helps them compete at such a high level and to be so consistent as well, because they get such a hefty feel for it. They know where the grip is, you know, there's no sort of dead zone or anything where they can't feel any grip or understeer, for example.
And also, that actually brings me on to an interesting fact while we've got a lull in proceedings. Each driver doesn't have the same rig every single session that they're on track, so they're all split up. So you're not going to go into, let's just say, a number at random, rig number 12. That's not your rig for the week. You'll go on to a different one every session. Yes, you can make some tweaks and changes, but it's really interesting that it's constant evolution, constant adaptation to what is around you. We're seeing France now in the heat of battle as well. Went for the attacking, now going for the defending. Round the outside goes Hong Kong, and Alexander Lay just about holds on. But that one was close, and a ripple of applause from the audience as well, in appreciation for the efforts.
On home soil as well. Now, just in front of that, we actually have an interesting fight between the Malaysian Ferrari, which of course has to push now due to a drive-through, but the Brazilian machine of Igor Rodriguez has got ahead of them. But because the Ferrari is so fast in the straight line, he's struggling to get away down that straight and stay away from him in the final sector. Here is the number 13 car of James Baldwin, looking back now at second-placed Chris Hartveld. Started third in this race, started third in his semi-final as well, finished second in said semi-final. So, is he going to do the same, or is he going to gain one more spot and go even one better than that and take the race win here?
Well, that's what you do as a professional, isn't it? You improve each time. So third, second, natural. The only one to do for Chris Hartveld is first position, and that's what everybody wants, isn't it? They want that gold medal. That's something that you can't. It's, with the greatest will in the world, trophies are awesome. So I'm told. I've never won anything, but trophies are awesome in competition. But a gold medal is a gold medal. And that's a different kettle of fish altogether, isn't it, than a trophy. It's very few athletes in the world get the opportunity to take those home with them.
And it's not just any race either. I mean, this is the FIA Motorsport Games, you know. This is a very serious competition, and it's for your nation. I can't reiterate enough that it's not just a sim racer driving for a team. You know, James Baldwin from Veloce, there's a lot of teams and drivers that have got amazing people here, but this is for the United Kingdom right now, and he's got the Netherlands against him, he's got Spain, Australia, Greece. All these countries have basically approved this, signed this off and said, look, go and represent your nation in this championship.
And that is another point that's probably worth clarifying for anybody that didn't pick up on it earlier on. It's not like we've decided, hey, I've got a Spanish friend, so he's going to come and we're going to paint our car livery and call ourselves Spain. This has come from the governing body of motorsport for that country. They've had to go through a process. They've had to sign up with their governing body. They've had to apply and become part of this competition. So it's not just, I've got dibs on UK because I went first. We've gone, who are all the British sim racers and esport drivers? You, Sunshine, that have applied are the best of the bunch. You're coming with us. And that's... Yeah, it's like an international call-up in football, which I don't know much about, so please don't talk about football. But it's like an international call-up in your sport of choice. You said it, I think, in one of the earlier broadcasts. You don't get bigger than this as a virtual race car driver.
No, you can represent an amazing esports team at a big esports event, but when you're representing your own country, like, that's serious stuff. There's not much more pride than that, you know, and wearing the flag on the car and the country's colours, it's just absolutely awesome. I noticed as well on the Spanish machine that they're actually wearing their country's racing organising body's emblem as well on the rear window of the car, which is really cool to see. So, you know, some of them have got a bit more of a customised livery than others out there, but it's just great to see. Really great to see the fantastic representation we've got. There's a drive-through penalty come up for France now, car 56. I'm wondering what that's going to be for, because I don't think we've seen them off track much.
And that's a real shame, because they're starting to make some good progress. Remember, they started 20th and last, and despite all the dramas and getting held up a little bit in the early stages, running up in 15th place, and again, on home soil. So that's a pity for Alexandra Lay there. But we're looking at Philippa Bakina, and she's showing a nice turn of pace as well for Australia at this stage in the race. The McLaren is quite strong. Just for a moment there, I thought that was our race leaders, but that is, of course, Singapore and Greece in 5th and 6th position. So they seem to be a little bit 2x2, don't they, at the moment?
Just going to say, we've got little duos going on, little duels between them. We've got the United Kingdom and Netherlands, Spain and Austria, Greece and then Singapore. And to be honest, if you look further back, we've then got Czech Republic, Norway are about 8 tenths back off them, with Indonesia right behind. Then you've got Japan as well. Barely any of them are covered by more than a second between them. And that, again, just shows the level that we've reached. We've got to the epitome of the competition here. And all of the best drivers and all of the best nations here are all against each other now. And it is so, so close. Yes, it may spread out a little bit at certain points of the pack. That's racing. It happens. You know, you're not going to get a train all the way through. But that sort of shot where we have all the cars coming towards us, it's rarely this weekend we've seen so many cars on the straight at the same time after 15 minutes of the race.
But I will say, though, we said this again to each other off air, there is a danger now in this situation that when you come upon another car that you're looking to overtake, if you don't get that move done almost instantly, it's very easy to fall in line with their pace and get held up, and then it's hard to dig deep and find another gear again. So they often say in like Grand Prix racing and whatnot that if you don't pass within the first 2 laps, you're going to get stuck. And that kind of applies here as well, although in this one, I mean, come on, if you don't pass the first 2 laps, you're going to lose 4 other places because everybody's swarming over you like a cheap suit. But it really is, you've got to act till you've got to act now, because 60 minutes is a long time when you're doing something you don't enjoy. When you're in a grand final of an FIA Motorsport Game, Fanatec Esports Cup, that goes by in a blink.
It does. I mean, I said a minute ago we're already 15 minutes through this race. I can't believe it. I thought it was laps 2.
Touching 20 now.
It's scary, isn't it? But it was great to see Sotomuto there for a second on board, as there's a move down the inside by Singapore as through goes Mohamed Ali. He started 9th in this race, and he's now up into 5th position ahead of Greece with Haris Mitropoulos at the wheel. McLaren versus McLaren, very similar hardware as we've had quite a lot over the weekend. But I was just going to mention before, Sotomuto, who we look at here, nicely done, Mr. Director, right behind Tommy Erskard. These are 2 drivers that we've both seen over the course of the day, moving forward through the field. Right now, though, they don't seem to be making the same progress. Our wonderful commentator, Murray Walker, once said, you get through and get to the tough nuts to crack further up in the field. And it's one of my favourite phrases I've ever heard. And this is that point now. In the competition, they've got to the tough nuts. You've pointed there, though. There's another penalty being given out, Paul.
Yeah, that's a real shame. So another drive-through penalty. It'll flash on our screen a little bit later on as to the reasoning behind it, but that's the Turkey car in 16th position. We're keeping our eye on Sotomuto for Japan. 10th position at the moment. That would have been a golden place to have been in the semi-finals and quarter-finals, but in this race, that is no use whatsoever. So Muto needs to start moving forward. He needs to get the proverbial skates on and find his way past the cars in front, because he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places away from a medal at this moment in time, Chaz. And 7 places, that's not a nice feeling, I think, is it, as a driver? That's a big ask.
No, definitely not. And I mean, there's so many drivers in this race that have had very roller coaster stories over the course of the weekend, where it might not have gone well in qualifying, and then they've progressed really well through their qualifying races and quarterfinals, and then even through the last chance races as well. It's a real shame we don't have any last chance drivers here, to be honest with you, because I think that would have been an amazing story to just see out of those who progressed where. But that's all academic now. All of these drivers were ones that completed their quarterfinals within the top 10, completed their semi-finals in the top 10. They've got the job done on more than one occasion, and here's a man that got the job done on more than one occasion in the last race as well. Tommy Erskard levels up with the McLaren, the Indonesian machine of Presley Martono, tries to go around the outside. He's got a lot of grip in that car. The Porsche is a very, very stable machine, but look behind. Sotomuto says, look, there's an advantage, there's an opportunity, puts his nose down the inside. Erskard goes a little bit deep. Sotomuto grabs that apex so well. Bit of a lick of flame from the McLaren as well. Tries not to run him out of road. Gets on the power. Erskard back down the inside. Still level as they come through the long left-hander. It tightens up here. Then you've got to get the run. I think Sotomuto's going to concede here and sit behind him. No, he's not, is he? Come on. He's absolutely on this now, side by side. But all the while, look in front of them as Martono just moves away, car length after car length. And all of a sudden, that's about, what, nearly a second gap now as they're going to cross the line. And behind them, suddenly, we've got Scharf in the Mercedes.
Yeah, and that's the stupidity that we've got to now in this competition, where you've got to make a move and it's got to count.
Yeah.
That was great for us. Fantastic. 4 corners, 2 wide, amazing. But that's cost these 2 drivers massively.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a move, you do 1 or 2 things. You do it where it's almost a slam dunk, or you don't do it at all.
Exactly.
And you cannot afford... I often say, when people talk about motor racing, it's not about going fastest, it's about he who loses the least time.
Yes, of course.
Not about going fastest. Make the least mistakes, give away the least time, and you will be the end of victory. And squabbling, awesome to watch. Lousy for your lap time, your overall race finishing time, and that's exactly what's happened here.
Exactly, it's like you all start with like a glass of water that's full, and when you're battling, you're shaking it away.
Exactly.
It's got the least water at the end. You know, you've sort of wasted your water by battling away with it. It's a very, very strange analogy, but still, we'll
I like
roll.
it. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that one and claim it for my own.
I've never used it before. I don't know where it came from. Help. James Baldwin then leads the way about quarter of a second from the Netherlands. Spain in third. Then it's Australia, Singapore, just outside of those medal positions. Greece, Czech Republic, Indonesia, just in front of the car we're focused on right now, which is the Norwegian Porsche of Tommy Ørsgaard, and a fantastic train of machines all stuck together. Now, we move back up to second place. Chris Hartenveld, I must admit, he has been a little bit under the radar at points this weekend, but we have said in pretty much every race so far, no news is good news, and he's sticking to that so far. There's a move, actually, as Matthias Kuhn goes down the inside of Konstantin Scharf, but again, once they wiggle their way out of the corner, look at the gap now to Sotomuto.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But going back to our front two for a moment, going back to Baldwin and Netherlands in second place, they're separated by nothing.
Yeah.
Is this a case, once again, that we're seeing a little bit of tactics in play, that we're seeing Hartenveld not really trying too hard to find a way past on the track and just waiting till we get to the point where the pit window opens, which is in another 3 or 4 minutes time, and play it that way, because they've got a comfortable gap, 4 seconds at this moment in time, but really when there's a medal on offer at the end, that becomes a decision point, doesn't it? Do you, don't you, go for it?
Well, exactly, and I think before what we saw when James Baldwin was behind Rodriguez in the earlier race, he was waiting for that pit window to be imminent so he could just try and unsettle him beforehand.
Yeah.
And you've got to think, in a way, I'm not saying this is a direct thing because I'm not sort of doubting Rodriguez's mental stability, but he had a go at him a couple of laps before the pit window, got ahead of him, and then he mucked up his pit entry.
Yeah.
That could be put down to mind games, but that's all it takes sometimes. That is all it takes. It's no disrespect to any of the drivers or the fact that they're fragile or anything like that before I dig myself into too big a hole, but in competition, that's what you need to do. No matter who it is, you need to try and unnerve them and get the better of them.
Yeah, so we're looking now on board with Czech Republic and Martin Kadlecik in 7th position. Just ahead is the Greece car. So again, typical behaviour. We've seen it before. Greece hooks the inside line, trying to close down the opportunity. Now, Kadlecik, they go back to the left-hand side to give him the arc through the corner. There's a light kiss between them, a little bit of like who's braver than the other, and Greece is the one that just about holds on. Meanwhile, further down the line, Norway is in. Good battle, Sotomuto. Once again, the man in the middle of it, Tommy Ørsgaard, ever the wilded professional, just holding back. I've seen a gap. I'm going to go through a gap. That gap's that big. You need some kind of door stopper, and I'll not quite get the opportunity on this occasion. That's a little bit intelligent driving, yeah?
I have to hope that that round of applause is for Sotomuto and how the heck he managed to slot that McLaren between those two cars there and not hit either of them. That was majestic driving. That might be one of the most understated parts of the weekend, that, but how on earth the 3 of them made it through there? Because, you know, you can't go without giving credit to the other 2 either side of him, but honestly, that was so magical. That just knew exactly the proportions of each car, who was going to do what, and that's the sort of clean driving we've come to love this weekend. It's been mega. Oh, there you go. That's feisty in the background, though. This might change it.
yeah, exactly. Fatal last words as we see Rodriguez trying to go around the outside of Scharf as well. I think he's got the job done. Kuhn just ahead as well for Belgium. So there we go. This is where the action's happening. Rodriguez and Scharf side by side. Just behind them is Slovakia as well. And Rodriguez, as we spoke about, needs to get a move on if he wants to continue forward. And they're about as close, Chaz, as you're going to get without making contact. Although, will they make contact through this corner?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. That's the push wide, and that is the opportunity for Slovakia to to not make a move, but to actually slam into the side of Brazil, which is...
well, I don't know. I think Rodriguez
which is a bit exciting. And then we're still going on because Charles says, you know what? You two mess about all you want. I'm going through and I'm going to go see you later.
He's using the Mercedes as a snowplow now. He's pushing, but look at the McLaren still getting away, even though he's right tucked up behind it. If I'm honest with you, though, I think Rodriguez, the Slovakian car had enough chance to get down the inside there. Rodriguez just didn't realise he had the overlap by the time they got to the corner. They both got very lucky because he backed out of it, and so did Rodriguez as well. They both managed to carry on, but this trio is absolutely glued together now with a big, beefy Mercedes filling in the middle of it, as well as he moves over on the inside of Rodriguez and also looks down the inside at the same time of Benz Banki. By the way, Banki now moving up into 12th place. Started this race in 17th. I think he was up there before, actually, and there was a bit more shuffling around, so he's actually sort of remained where he was. But all this time, well, this is the glass emptying for Rodriguez.
And I love these kind of moments. You know, when there's two people squabbling and the one on the back just holds on, go. And then takes the opportunity. I absolutely adore that kind of thing. Yeah, and then again, it happens in reverse order the next time round when they have a squabble. And it's a bit of a yo-yo, isn't it? Backwards, forwards, but great entertainment for everybody at home. Great entertainment here in the commentary box. And the pit window is now open. And the pit window means...
pit stops.
Yay! Pit stops and strategy.
Yes, so it does indeed, yes. So we're going to have a quick replay here then. This is Rodriguez having a go at Scharf. He's trying to go around the outside into the chicane. He's going to have the inside for the next part. Scharf's giving him just enough room. And I think this is going to lead up to the contact that we saw. And it seemed like Scharf was just trying to slide along the back of the McLaren, but the long nose on that Mercedes just catches him. He's a little bit close to contact here. I think maybe... I don't think there was a touch there, but there's definitely a touch here. So Rodriguez a little bit later on the brakes, down the inside. Scharf just nerfs the back of the car, and here comes the Slovakian machine. Banki down the inside. Yeah, Rodriguez just doesn't leave the room there for me, but it's a fantastic save all the same. And then Scharf just says, right, let me push you here, sunshine. Let's get past this big yellow, green and blue thing.
Yeah, that was great stuff. He didn't leave him room at the same time as well. Banki was trying to overtake whilst using the majority of the curb, which is not where you would traditionally expect a car to sit. So 6-1, half a dozen of the other, all's fair in love and war. Everybody managed to survive it, which is the most important thing. And it's great scenes for us as once again, Japan on the move, defending this time from Norway. From everybody else as well, it seems like. And there we go, Sotsumoto pushed out wide, not physically, but by the presence of another car, and loses that position. So these three can't decide who wants to be the leader of the pack, can they? Because they keep swapping, which is only nice. We all play together nicely. We all swap each other. After you, sir, it's your turn.
Oh, indeed. Well, Presley Martono there impressed me, Martono, it must be, because round that corner, that was the bottom of the barrel, I've got splinters, but that was just amazing how he let off the brakes, really carried the momentum of the car in, and it just glued itself to the floor. Sotomuto straight into the pits. He thinks, you know what, I don't want any of this noise anymore. Osgaard goes in with him as well. Two leaders have carried on, though, importantly. This is James Baldwin leading the pack ahead of Chris Harteveld, and the two of them still flying. We've had another car in the pits, which is Rodriguez. He's getting out of the fighting as well. He wants clear track, because that's where he just thrives, isn't it?
So here's the fun game then, now that we like to play. The first of the front-running cars is Japan, 9th position, with the first to jump down pit lane. Let's keep our eye on that, see if he comes back out, Sotsumoto, in 9th or higher or lower. We have said all day long on the broadcast that from our observations, coming in earlier seems to be the stronger option, yet no one seems to do it at the front of the field, which... they're also more intelligent than us, so we probably got it wrong, but it seems to win. It seems to work every single time I do it. Is somebody missing a trick here, or is it different when you're at the front of the field? Why are people not jumping all over this option?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think I've said it a few times already that if you are out in front and you're into a rhythm and the car's feeling good and you can predict how it's developing over the course of a race and you don't want it to suddenly cool down by sitting in the pits for a minute and then have to get stuff up to temperature and sort of reacclimatise yourself and have that break mentally between fast laps, in laps and out laps. I think some drivers just think, right, I'm going to stay out as long as I can and just... maybe, again, that's a mental game. It's not something I've thought of until now. You could probably hear my brain click when it happened. But when you're out front, everybody else can see you still out front. And they have that in their head and they think, he's the guy in the lead. He's the one I need to beat. And if you hold that for as long as you can, you hold that joker in your hand, maybe people will start to sort of feel a bit more pressure to have to push to catch you up.
A very fine point, well made, sir, and that might very well be the case. So here we go, Japan still remain the car at the head of the pack that have made their stops. Currently 14th on track. That will change when everybody goes down pit lane. Anybody who's new to the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, timing stack on the left-hand side. There is orange and 1. That means they've not made their stop, and there's requirement to stop once. If it's green, that means we are done, thank you very much, and we're racing through to the checkered flag. 5 minutes, 58 seconds off the pit window remain in this race. 30 minutes, 54 seconds of track action remains, and it's still a very hot battle indeed between Germany and Slovakia. 9th and 10th position at the moment. Ben Spanke is the man that's on the charge, and Schaaf is the man defending in the big old AMG Mercedes at the front of the field. And this is home hero, Alexandre Lay, 20th position, but will make some places up when everybody else comes and does their stoppy-goey thing.
Well, there's 10 seconds back from Brazil to Poland, and then 20 seconds back from Poland to Turkey. So these guys, at the moment, they're a little bit on their own, but in a way they're not. They've still got somebody to fight with, somebody to race with, and that's the best thing. I mean, I'm sure we've both had races where we've made a mistake early on or been involved in an incident that wasn't our fault. Not an insurance claim sort of advert scenario, but, you know. But then you just drive around on your own at the back, and it can be so disheartening. You just think, I'm just going to park up. But we've seen a lot of drivers determined this weekend that have been in that scenario, and they've carried on all the way through, and they've got the job done, and hats off to them. These guys right now, at the end of the day, they have to keep pushing. There's no reason not to. You never know what can happen in front, what can happen at an event like this at such a high level. Things can break, and not as in the technology, I mean just people can just break and have that moment, and it can all fall apart.
And it's also self-respect.
Of course,
it's self-respect, isn't it? Of course, there can only be 3 people that take a medal home at the end of today, but do you want to be the one who's the quitter? Out of 20 cars, do you want to be the one that walks away with your team's, with your country's colours on, and saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore because I can't win. I'm taking my toys home, you can't have the ball anymore. No, you don't want to be. You don't want to be that person, and it's disrespectful to yourself, to your country, to your rivals, and to the event organisers. And as you say, we've seen people have absolute nightmares but stick with it, and I love to see that one. A massive credit to those people as well for staying with it and seeing it through to the conclusion, come good news or bad news.
And it's good sportsmanship as well, not directly to another competitor, but just to the whole event. You know, it's not you can't only show sportsmanship to your other competitors. It can be to the organisers, the people involved, and a lot of other aspects to whatever event you're competing in. And to be able to do that is very, very important. Now the gap has opened up a little bit here from James Baldwin to Chris Harteveld. I say it's opened up. I mean, it's still less than a second, so he's in the slipstream of the McLaren in front. But he will be worrying at this point that you will start to lose that slipstream, and we know it's very important here at Paul Ricard to have that, to stay close together. Here's the car in third, by the way. For a Lamborghini to be subtle, a lot must be wrong with the world, but if I'm honest with you, Alberto Garcia Gomez has been very subtle in this race, despite the Lamborghini, despite the massive 5.2-litre V10 in the back, and despite the madly loud colour scheme that's all over it as well, and the fantastic supporters that he has here as well. He got a very big cheer. He's just been under the radar, somehow under the radar.
But doing an incredibly solid job, eking away from Bukida for Australia in 4th position, doing the business, staying sort of in touch with the 2 cars in front of him, but just we saw it briefly on the screen then, that Lamborghini. It looks a little bit more comfortable than last time we watched it in the previous races. Yes, we're still got 27 and a bit minutes of change left to go, but maybe there's been some changes to the way he approaches it, the way he drives. And that looks like it's in a better long-term prospect.
Yeah, and again, it goes from driver to driver who can manage the car in different ways, and he's actually come into the pits now as well. Get it cooled down for a minute. Singapore also in as well. That promotes Felipe Bukida up into 3rd position. Czech Republic staying out as well. That's a great shot of the Lamborghini.
Really is.
What a gorgeous race car the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo is. Easy for me to say. So we've got drivers now making their way out of the pit lane once again. Let's keep our eye on Japan as well, because obviously that was the car that first came in from 7th position. Ninth position. I've got.
There we go.
Apologies. Yes, he's 10th at the minute. Oh, side-by-side action here. Alexandre Lay side-by-side with the Malaysian driver of Nakib Aslan. Fallen a bit by the wayside as well in this race, to be honest, but these guys fighting at the back of the field. Keeping our eye on the timing tower on the left, though. It looks like Spain have emerged from the pit lane, still ahead of Singapore and Greece, but they could still change position coming out of the pit lane and through the first sector. We'll wait for that to update.
Oh, we've seen this before as well. When somebody's come out of the pit lane and has track position, it takes a little while just to get yourself and your car back up to temperature, back up to pressure again. So if you're the car that's hot if you're the car that's been on track and you're in the zone, and someone comes out of pit lane, a 4-second gap can diminish rapidly compared to normal racing conditions, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. All it takes is one poor sector and that's it.
Yeah.
The top 4 will be coming in on this lap. We've got a minute and a quarter left to go. It's nearly 2 minutes a lap round here at Circuit Paul Ricard. So they will be coming in this time round, and then we will wait and see if anybody just overdoes it on pit entry, maybe speeds in the pit lane, because there's still that element of things to consider. We may have 26 minutes of this race left, but the pit stops are not just a tick box exercise.
Exactly.
You have to get it right. You have to follow procedure. You cannot overdo it. These guys, very tentative out the last corner, but they don't cross that white line. Important.
And that was what I was just about to say. We've got live FIA stewards here for this event, and they are looking for things like procedural breaks where you go over the pit lane line on the way in and the way out. Not just the speed limit that we're used to as esports sim racers, but the actual markings on the racetrack, just like real life. We've seen 5-second penalties handed out like sweeties for that one in earlier events. So all these little things are the things that could undo months of preparation and a full day of great work for one seemingly innocuous little mistake, as everybody now, Chaz, has been down pit lane. So the pit window is going to close in 5 seconds, but everybody's done their business now, and let's see how things shake out.
Well, I'm looking at Kadlachik, and he's still in the pits, and he's still not fulfilled. Oh, no, it's gone green now. It's just gone green. So I think he's just going to be a bit further down than the rest of them. He's coming out of the pit lane right now. He would have been near the front end of the pit lane as well, right down the far end. You mentioned sweeties, though. You're still thinking about the hotel, aren't you?
I really like those sweeties. I love them.
But at the top of the field, then, Felipe Bukida is in 3rd position right now, and the Spanish machine, well, actually, no, look, there you go. I'm getting ahead of myself. We just saw the Spanish Lamborghini there coming through in 3rd, and there you go. It does tick over. So I'm getting ahead of myself and the timing tower here, Paul, but it seems like everybody's got it right in this one. They've known by now. They've had the practice over the course of the weekend. Now we've got a 24-minute sprint to the end.
But once again, our observation of pitting early is a good way to go. Look at Japan. It's only one place, but it's still one place. They've made a gain. So again, coming in first seems to be the way forward. It's a bit too late now because we've got no more pit stops for the 2022 FIA Motorsport Games Fanatec Esports Cup. They're over and done with for another campaign, but great for Satomoto to make that move and to gain a position. It's a free overtake. Why wouldn't you? It costs you nothing. There's no disadvantage. It's not like you've got to do a longer second stint because you keep the same boots on.
Exactly.
So it's a done deal as far as I'm concerned, unless you hit traffic, and then it's bye-bye to everything.
Well, it's even fuel-wise as well. It's not a loss. You know, you have to put a litre of fuel in, and I mean, I think I could put a litre of fuel in myself quicker than a lot of these teams could put it in the car, to be honest. Right now, though, that moment there for the Slovakian machine, Ben Spanky, another driver that, again, has gained places in this race, but I think only through others falling by the wayside. He's right behind the Belgian car right now, Matthias Kuhn, who again started 19th in this race, so he's also made progress of his own. Konstantin Scharf in front of them, though, he started 10th, so he's dropped 2 places from where he was at the very beginning of this race. We look further forward, though, and Kadlachik is still making progress, though, after the horrible start that he had with that incident. He's right behind Mohamed Alif now in the Singapore McLaren, but he has shown so far that he can defend very, very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's fair to say that coming into this race, there'll be 2/3 of this grid know they're not in the conversation for a top 3.
Yeah.
So they're just going to do the best they can for themselves, their team, their country, and all that good stuff. And it's really sort of, it's a handful, 3, 4, 5 drivers are going to dispute who gets the gold amongst them, sort of thing, of which United Kingdom, Netherlands, Spain, Australia are 4 of those, and Singapore doing actually really, really good work at this moment in time. It's more a case of who's going to get what, or try not to get involved in something silly and take yourself out of contention. And that's exactly what's proven to be, but it's still made a fantastico race for this final event.
It's been absolutely awesome, you know, every element to this. The whole competition, each race we've had has had its own different element and different added spice, you know. It's been really good fun to watch. Great stuff to commentate on as well. We've never run out of stuff to talk about. I must give another bit of appreciation, you know, to Alberto Garcia Gomez in that Lamborghini, because when you look at the manufacturers inside the top 10, we've got Tommy Erskard in the Porsche, fair play, you know, Coanda have fantastic ties with Porsche, but to be the only Lamborghini in the top 9 that's filled with McLarens, showing that it's the car to be in this weekend, That makes it an even more top-notch effort, I must say.
Yeah, it really does. It's great to see the variety of marks as well by having a different car in there, so it's not a McLaren dominated top 10 as we're looking on board now with Kadalchik.
Look at the
finding.
run.
That's a great run on the Singapore cars to the outside, but again, if he can hold that position, the circuit goes to the left, and there we go. Singapore very, very, very wide, so makes a little mistake there, drops out of contention, and Kadalchik even. Great deal. Pass made.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. He just got his nose down the inside, and because the Singapore machine of Mohammed Alif was just offline, he went on those marbles. You saw it step out a little bit. Good save, but it just killed the momentum through the corner, and he wasn't able to get it back to the apex quickly enough, and through went Kadalchik back up into 5th position. But when he started the race in 2nd place on the front row,
you want more than that, don't you?
Final, it's just not what he wants. If he manages to secure a bronze from this and get back through, I'm sure that'll be a good consolation considering, but it's not what he came here for.
Yeah, it's a big ask for Kadalchik, isn't it? To try and close that kind of distance as well. 6.4 seconds away from Philippa Bakida. Bakida herself is no pushover when it comes to on-track racing. And then Bakida a further nearly 4 seconds away from that podium and that final medal. So again, all about self-respect, all about doing the best job you can right to the very checkered flag. And who knows, we've seen strange things. Heaven forbid, let's hope it doesn't happen. But if Baldwin for United Kingdom makes a mistake, gets collected by the Netherlands, and suddenly, hey, I'm not 4th, I'm 2nd, or I'm 3rd. So there's still plenty of opportunities. And Kadalchik now is going from the attacker to the defender once again. And it's funny how I'd like to see the lap times, but it's funny how you can be the one that's under attack, and then when you get past, you just find more speed.
Yeah, that's it. As soon as you've got that open road and you've not got another car to focus on in front of you, it can make a big difference. Into the top 10 now for Igor Rodriguez, gets past Tommy Erskard. That means now there is only one car inside the top 10 that is not a McLaren, and that is now the Spanish Lamborghini. But I must say, Tommy Erskard has made that Porsche look like an absolute beast this weekend compared to a lot of the other teams that had it. No disrespect to them, of course, but he's risen above the others so far in this competition and done a phenomenal job of it. Igor Rodriguez, though, I'm absolutely gutted that we didn't get to see the drive-through from 5th that we were expecting and hoping for, because we knew it was coming. We absolutely did. But instead, we've had this drive-through from the very back of the field, all the way up through the order. It's just not going to give him the result that, admittedly, no disrespect again to any of the other teams, that car deserves a medal this weekend for the performance they've done all weekend.
To be fair, man, it deserves a medal for the livery, because that looks sensational on the McLaren 720S. Meanwhile, let's have a look a little bit further down the running order. The battle between Belgium and Germany continues for 12th and 13th position. So this moment in time, Schaaf just holding on to that 12th position. And as we've said, that many times I'm bored of hearing myself say it, never mind what people at home think. When you squabble, you bring yourself into the cars behind you. And that's exactly what's happening, because look at that. We're starting to get people, we're starting to get Slovakia, starting to get Hong Kong as well, joining into that fight. And I suppose at this point, there's no point. What's the point playing the tactics game when you're outside the top 10 anyway? You're just going to have some fun.
Well, that's
Make a great race of it.
And again, as we've discussed, seat time is so important. That's what you need. Even if you've just got a bit of seat time now, you could have done 1,000 laps of Paul Ricard before now. But at the end of the day, you're in a competitive environment and you're getting different seat time to what you do just at home in your own sim, or maybe at a team facility. More and more sim racing teams now are getting their own facilities in these buildings. It's absolutely incredible. But to do it here on stage in front of a live audience, in front of us two Muppets and everybody else that's organising it, there's so much different pressure from many different angles. You've got the photographers, the videographers, which I must say have been amazing this weekend. You've got everybody poking cameras in, everybody watching every move you do, whether it be looking at the sim, looking at the screen, just seeing what you're doing, watching online, everybody at home. There's every possible angle that these drivers have been looked at going on at once this weekend. That seat time, you can't replicate that sat at home.
And that's the thing. This practice is a great thing, but it's the quality of the practice, isn't it? You can go around on your own, but the quality is what counts. And an event and an environment like this, I mean, I've just taken a moment to actually turn around while I'm commentating and have a look at the arena, because the way that we've got this set up, our monitors and the camera that faces us is looking the other way, just to come back on there so you see our backs. It's just incredible to see this happen. We don't really see this enough it's just incredible to see these cockpits, the crowd, everybody's kind of sat on the edge of their seat, aren't they? Everybody's kind of thinking, what's going to happen next? Who's going to take home the final prize? And yeah, I almost feel a bit annoyed that I'm a commentator, because I'd like to soak up the atmosphere for myself.
Stand and face this way and just watch what's going on over there. But, to be honest, though, everybody that sat here, it could just be a split-second moment, and we've had a few of them this weekend where we cut to a shot of a car and it's off the road, stopped. And it's happened a couple of times, and everyone's here because that could happen. This is still sport. Anything can happen in sport. And honestly, it often does. Yeah,
exactly. That's a half a Murray Walker quote again. And Murray's getting a lot of credit airtime on this one. So let's have a look then. 16 minutes left on the clock. 6:51 in game time. The United Kingdom lead from the Netherlands, with Spain and Australia making our top 4 runners. The Czech Republic from Singapore in 5th and 6th position. Greece, Japan, Indonesia and Brazil are the top 10 of our drivers of our nations in the Fanatec Esport Cup here at the FIA Motorsport Games. And basically, with just over 15 minutes to go, it's a fight between 4 cars as to who's going to get those 3 medals at the end of the day.
It is indeed. Now, that 5.8 second gap back to the Czech Republic, it's not looking too easy to settle down unless there's a serious incident right now. So Filippo Bukida is the one that needs to try and move forward, but again, 4.8 seconds there, that requires an incident. It may have got spread out at the front, but the pressure is still on. That's the thing. We've said this a few times, that in GT racing, when it's an hour-long race, there is a segment where everyone gets spread out, everyone has their own race to run, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that's where people fall in and out of rhythms. That's where mistakes creep in. If you're all on your own, chasing numbers rather than a car ahead of you, that's when you get in your own head, and this is a very important stage of the race now. Last 15 minutes of this race, last 15 minutes of the final, last 15 minutes of the Fanatec Esports Cup, Paul.
Nice. Ben Spanky were riding on board for Slovenia. Now, that looks like, Slovakia, sorry, that looks like a lot of fun through his windshield, doesn't it? That's a couple of cars that are having quite the fight as well. And you've got to get to the point now, because we've talked about it, we spoke about it on stage, we spoke about it in the broadcast. Everybody loves this. This is why we do it. So when you know you're out of contention for the medal, Ben Spanky's got to be sat there, annoyed he's not in the top 3, but also thinking, I'm going to have me some fun, boys, in these next 14 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And we do this and spend inordinate amounts of personal money on our own rigs, our own equipment. We do this because we absolutely adore it, and there is nothing more enjoyable than going too wide with someone you know, someone you respect, and having yourself a real good race. And these guys all respect each other now because they've been at it at the top level.
And they take that at home. They take racing online against these sorts of people at home. It's amazing racing. And let's not forget as well, simulation racing. Esports, it's here to simulate what the real world does, and it does it oh so well. It really does it oh so well, and the drivers are a key part of that as well. The way these cars behave, the way they behave against each other, the way the circuits react to what the cars do, the weather, the conditions, the temperature, the lighting, us pair, all that, and the audiences that we get here, everybody appreciating this. And I think I've mentioned it over the course of the weekend off air as well, Paul, that we're not here in motorsport working here because it's a job, because we have to have it as a job. It's here because we love it. There's passion behind it. And you feel that on the esports side as well. All the cheers that the drivers were getting as they came up on the stage here. I absolutely love it. I really do love this. And I'm just going to relish these last couple of minutes, to be fair, and these last laps, because now I think the action, I don't want to say it's got to come to us, but with how it's spread out at the moment, this battle is the one to watch. And I think the drivers now just have to keep their nerves in the last few laps.
Yeah, I've got to say, this is not spread out, Chaz. This is as far from spread out as one could possibly get. We're riding on board with the rear-facing camera of the German car, so that is Konstantin Scharf, currently in 12th position, has been in 12th position for quite some time now. So Belgium has had enough time to go out to the library, take out a book on how to overtake on Paul Ricard, do some revising and put it into practice, because he's been following that Mercedes for so long. This is the time. It's now or never, boys. 12 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. Belgium and Slovakia, what have you got? Put up or pay up. Now's the time to show us, because that German car does not need to stay there. They need to make their move.
Well, it's not budging either, to be honest. It's like all these McLarens are getting up to the back of this Mercedes and going, what's that?
Yeah.
I've not seen one of them before. I've not seen one of these in a while, at least. You know, it's the only one in the competition now. And there's so many McLarens out there that they're probably used to looking at each other and going, oh, I like this one-make series. Yeah. But no, to be honest with you, it is good that we still have that variation of cars here, because it would be a shame if it was a 20 McLaren grid moment there. Very scary moment. But that's the thing. Even though the drivers are keeping it on the track, we've seen some scary moments that absolutely decimates the gap between them, doesn't it? And that knocks your confidence for the next few corners as well. Because if a little bit of slip, you can overheat the tyres, you can overheat your mind trying to save it, and it can be a bit triggering for the next couple of corners, to say the least.
And that is an exceptional point, well made. It knocks your confidence and gets in your head as well. It's like, you know, you often see in real world motorsport, when it starts spitting with rain, when there's a little bit of rain falling and it gets on your visor, it's nowhere near enough to have any impact on the grip on the car, but you see rain spots and you think, oh, reduce grip, and then you slow down. And that's the same thing. You've had a bit of a wiggle, so you think, oh, what have I got underneath me now? Have I got enough grip underneath me? And start compensating for it again. A little bit of a look to the inside, not really a pass. Fill your mirrors of the car in front. We've said it before. Make the driver in front. Think more about what's going on behind him than what's going on forward. And that little shimmer will set up the move that you're about to look at here, as Norway gets themselves a drive-through penalty in 11th for Tommy Husgaard.
Oh, Tommy Husgaard now. That's surely got to be track limits or something. I don't think we'll see him make contact with anybody. But this is great stuff from Banky. But what he's doing is taking the pressure off Schaaf right now. And he's going to be very grateful for that, because these two McLarens starting to squabble, I should say. But it's Kuhn now having to do some defending rather than filling the mirrors of the Mercedes in front of him. Behind them as well, they've got the only Aston Martin that we've seen with the Hong Kong machine of Jonathan Wong behind him. Probably the longest name on our entry list, as it's detailed here as the Aston Martin AMR V8 Vantage GT3 2019. One of the best looking cars in the world, though, when it comes to GT racing, and a fantastic noise as well from the massive beefy V8 in that car. Interesting that the McLarens are V8s as well, but a much higher revving turbocharged V8, so they make an interesting noise. I imagine, to be honest, that Kuhn made an interesting noise there, where he saw the Slovakian car pop out from behind him so close to the right-hander, Paul.
Yeah, really good. And that's, again, it's not a genuine passing attempt. It's trying to unsettle the car in front, to make them make a mistake, to make them run just like that, like Kuhn's just done then. Run a little bit wide, compromise himself. Now, that Banky looks to the inside again, goes to the outside, now tries to cut back to the inside, now concentrates on getting the run out of this section of corner, get power down earlier, charge earlier, to put himself in a prime position to go and do something magical further around the lap.
You could say he's banking on the car in front making a mistake.
Wonderful.
It is.
You wonderful.
Here's Haris Mitropoulos. Another driver, again, that despite the very striking Greek livery on this car,
I do like
has fallen under the radar a little bit. We were saying earlier, we like these white liveries with a splash of colour on them, especially when it's themed colour as well. With the big Greek flag on that car, it looks absolutely mega on the McLaren. I do like the 720S in white, but to be honest, it's not something that Tommy Husgaard is going to be focused on. He has a drive-through penalty, and as confirmed there, it is for track limits. And
as we suspected once again.
Yeah, we've not seen a lot of it this weekend, but it doesn't mean that it's not there, does it?
Well, I mean, just to sort of reiterate what we said earlier for anybody who didn't catch it first time, drive-through for track limits can be allocated in two ways. Way number one is as controlled by the software. So 3 strikes, and on the 4th strike, it gives you an automatic penalty. Also, it can be given if it's an obvious cut, i.e. there's a chicane, I'm not bothered about the chicane, I'll make it an oval. The stewards, the live stewards, can apply whatever they see fit as well. So that is clearly a case, because it's so late in the race, Husgaard, that he's just had 3 of those minor cuts. So the software, as I said before, if you go off track to avoid a crashed car, or go off track just because you run a bit wide, it's still a cut. Exactly, there's no human logic in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look at context, does it, as to why you're out there off the circuit. If you've been bashed off there, you know, it's like, you're naughty, you're off the circuit. Naughty down the inside, actually, was Ben Banky there, gets past Matthias Kuhn. Both of them have come through from the back of the grid in this race. They've made progress, steady progress, but now they're sort of holding each other up a little bit. And like you said, Paul, I imagine just relishing the opportunity to have a good old fight in such an amazing competition at a high level, with everybody here watching them as they are. And we've not got long to go now. The light is dimming here at Circuit Paul Ricard, and I tell you what, now it is getting darker here. It's actually looking even more wonderful. I didn't think it could look much better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic environment and stadium, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. We've got the Greek machine then chasing down the McLaren from Singapore, Mohamed Alif. making his way into the second chicane here. Real pinch point of the circuit. I love that camera there where we see them go away from us, slam on the brakes, really follow the weight transfer of the car around the corner and carry it through the exit, flick it one way then the other onto the back straight. It is mega, really mega stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful track, and I think you mentioned it before earlier in the weekend, maybe not necessarily today. Paul Ricard is one of those circuits that it's just absolutely sensational for GT3 racing cars. It's just, it allows you to go too wide. It allows you to race with your rivals, and you can go too wide on multiple corners for good measure as well.
Well, there's some too wide as well now as the Brazilian machine of Igor Rodriguez continues to make progress forward. The two McLarens, well, bouncing off each other in a straight line rather unnecessarily, it has to be said. That was the Indonesia car of Presley Martono. They don't need to make contact in a straight line, to be honest with you, but at the end of the day, they're just giving each other a little love nudge to say, here we are, we're racing against each other. Absolutely feisty stuff, Paul.
Yeah, we like a bit of feisty. A bit of feist is exciting. So Igor Rodriguez, once again, out on track for Brazil, having himself a really good charge, a really good race at this moment in time with Indonesia. And we've got 5 minutes, 57 seconds left on the clock. Paul's question time once again from Mr. Chaz Draker, who for you is the unofficial driver of the day today. We've seen some sensational performances from everybody, really, so it's hard to pick.
If I'm honest, and this is going to seem really biased, I think I'm going to have to say James Baldwin. He's been leading pretty much most of the time we've seen him, but he's remained so solid throughout. You know, we've seen drivers lead races, and we've seen them get exciting and do not crazy things, but, you know, there's a bit more excitement. As I said before, exciting isn't always fast.
Yeah.
You know, they maybe put themselves in a bit of a risky situation. James just seems so calculated all of the time. If it's not him, it's definitely the Spaniard, Alberto Garcia Gomez. I mean, the fact that Lamborghini is up there in a McLaren fest of a top 10 is just brilliant. Really brilliant. What about you?
I'd actually, for fear of being boring, say the exact same. Baldwin, because it's been an incredible performance. It's always hard to look past a winner.
Yeah.
But Gomez, not only, as you say, it's the Lamborghini that's in the top 10 in a field full of McLarens. Not only is he a medal winner, but he's had some damn fine racing.
Yeah,
Great defending in previous races. Intelligent racecraft. Was it the last race where he was being passed and then he repassed again, even though we thought he'd get dropped away? It's just never say die, never give up attitude. Meanwhile, let's talk about Singapore going to the inside now with Greece around the outside through. Greece gets the job done. Singapore drops down to 6, and Mitropoulos goes immediately on the defensive as well. Can he hold the car in tight? Yes, he can. We're going to go back to Brazil as well now. There's a round of applause for the audience. Brazil and Igor Rodriguez trying to find his way past. Not enough racing room, and this race is a gift that keeps on giving. 4 minutes left to go, and everybody's not giving up yet.
No, this is all bragging rights now. This is all they want, is just to say, ha, I finished ahead of you. This is mental games. This is what they need to do, because you never know if they end up in a similar competition further down the line, if they can think, oh, we beat them last time, let's do it again. That's honestly the long-term mental game, and it's not just about this competition anymore. We're thinking 2 years' time for the next one. They could do it again.
It's also much more short-term. It's been, I'm sure, I'm speaking on behalf of everyone that's racing, an absolutely exceptional weekend without fail. And you also want to end it with a really good memory.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guys like, oh, the last race I tooled around on my own. You want to do what this boy's doing now, Igor Rodriguez. You want to go too wide with 3.5 minutes left to go. Rodriguez to the inside. We have got not quite able to get it done and dusted in the first corner, but this is going to lead on to the next section of the lap, and another opportunity again. Strike while the opportunity presents itself. That is the lesson that all of these drivers have learned today, riding on board now with Rodriguez. And let's have a look at how upset and unstable that Indonesian car is in front. It actually, Chaz, that looks pretty decent at this stage, doesn't it?
It looks very solid indeed. He's not really having to fight it at all, to be honest with you. He's just caressing it around that section of the circuit. And now Igor Rodriguez is going to tuck into the slipstream on this back straight, push the McLaren as hard as he can, and once again try and make a move just up the road as well. We've got Singapore all over the back of Greece now. This is Mohamed Alif and Haris Mitropoulos, and Haris is literally flinging a car almost off the road to stay out of the way. He holds the inside line, turns in a little bit late, but still nothing untoward going on there. Great racing between the two of them. Then, once again, we cut back to Brazil against Indonesia. Round the outside goes Igor Rodriguez. He's going to run a little bit wide, and there's a bit of a contact moment there. They're still right together, still banging doors once more. That's a good 5 or 6 times already now, Paul. But somehow, absolutely somehow, Presley Martono manages to hold on. What a boy.
Yeah, great stuff from Martono for Indonesia there, really holding on to the car, really holding back Igor Rodriguez as well. And both of these drivers have been thoroughly enjoying it. The audience are enjoying it out there as well. We've only got 2 minutes left on the clock. This is nearly over. The FIA Motorsport Games Fanatec Esports Cup, the esports part of the FIA Motorsport Games in 2022, comes down to the final 1 minute and 53 seconds and comes down to this great battle between Brazil and Indonesia for the final spot in the top 10 placings, although sadly away from the medals at this stage.
Well, that's it. They don't go home with anything extra because of this, other than
apart
maybe
from a big old smile.
Just a bit of pride, yeah. And at the end of the day, if they're both enjoying this battle, then good on them. We've seen a lot of drivers this weekend maybe battling for positions outside the top 10, bottom half of the top 10, not on their way to directly win any specific prize or progress into a final, but they've had an amazing battle, and we've seen them on the cameras smiling and enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Again, it comes back to the fact that we're here because we love it and we enjoy it, and the drivers are the same as well. They're not here because they're forced to race against their will or anything like that. They're here because they want to represent their countries. They want to do the job and get the results that they deserve. And to be honest, it's a shame to see the Brazil car this far down after the weekend they've had, but still, they've continued on and on and on. And I believe now, with a minute left of this race, we may just get one more lap out of this man here, James Baldwin, who has cleared off a little bit at the front. 3.5 seconds isn't a massive gap, but when you see it in terms of car lengths, it's a pretty comfortable one.
And compared to what we've seen in the competition at this stage, it is night and day. Once again, round 54 for Brazil versus Indonesia. And again, Rodriguez to the outside. Again, not quite enough racing room. They give each other a little bit of space, but only just. Rodriguez can't get the car back to the inside. Indonesia keeps it nice and tight, doesn't give any decent opportunities for Rodriguez and Brazil to find a way past them. That's going to go on to a final lap, because there's our race leader, James Baldwin, crosses the line before the timer hits 0. So we are on the final lap. Oh.
I know, I'm a bit sad now, actually. Honestly, though, at this point of the competition, you can sit here and stand there and say, it's gone so quickly. At this point, we started with the last chance races yesterday. Our colleagues DJ Clark and Jesse Lee were covering the qualifying quarterfinals, and it was just great fun to watch. We jumped on stage, got on with the job, and it seems like we only started a few hours ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone so quickly, and what a hell of a competition this has been. I mean, the countries that we've got represented here, all 57 of them, have all done a mega job, not just on the track virtually here this weekend or under this amazing roof that we've got. This building is phenomenal, but the fact that they've got them here, they've had the support from their governing bodies, their countries, to come and do this. And to be honest, I'm going to find it hard to not be a little bit proud to see the United Kingdom car leading its way around into the final corner.
I'm glad you said leading its way rather than taking the victory, because there's still half a lap to go, and absolutely anything can happen. Luca Lozio, remember, ran out of fuel in one of the quarterfinals on the final lap, so anything can happen. But you're right, that is James Baldwin at this moment in time for the United Kingdom, with a 3.5 second just under lead from the Netherlands and from Chris Herke, and then Spain, the Lamborghini, is the last of the podium sitting drivers, Alberto Garcia Gomez, at this moment in time. The big red zeros at the top of the screen, that means it is just the case of bring it home, boys, isn't it?
It is indeed. James Baldwin in the McLaren 720 SGT3 is coming round the final corner now to get the job done, Paul.
Here we go. So the final corner of the FIA Motorsport Games 2022. We have our winner, James Baldwin, and now it is time for the national anthem of our race winner, James Baldwin and Great Britain.
A great race at the Fanatec Esports there, and it was James Baldwin who took the gold for Team UK, adding to their medal table. Congratulations, Team UK and James. Very happy with his results, and of course spraying the champagne. Always a favourite with the drivers. Now, we keep promising you to show you the drifting podium, don't we? And now, Wait for it. We are going to show you the drifting podium. It's such a fan favourite here at Paul Ricard and the Motorsport Games. And it was Latvia who took the gold medal in drifting. Oh, the team. Look at the team celebrating there. Very happy. It's lovely to see. I'm sure those drivers are all very proud. I told you this morning, didn't I, that it was going to be a packed day of motorsport, and it certainly has been. We've had some great action on track, and we'll be back for more tomorrow for the final day. But for now, we were going to leave you with the highlights from the FIA Motorsport Games Day 2.